searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida in the Sim500 NC811 Esports Series season opener. I'm Kevin England along with the captain Chris Scala, welcoming you into the first race of the 2023 season. We have some familiar faces, some new faces, and a new season starts now. The field is set, and tonight we have 120 laps of racing action from the high banks of Daytona. And Chris, it's a new season of opportunity for the Sim500 drivers, and we kick it off with this season's biggest race, the Daytona 500K.
It is the sixth running of this race, and we are ready to rock and roll for the first time ever here on the Captain Esports Network on YouTube. Of course, we're on the Sim500 Facebook page. We're on the Captain Esports Network Facebook page. We are ready to rock and roll. We have a full grid of cars that are about to go 120 laps and 300 miles around the world center of racing. Of course, you know they're motivated, one, because of yesterday's actual Daytona 500, but two, as we all know in racing, when rain shows up, it makes the race good, even if it's virtual rain. That causes us to start just a few minutes later. But we're going to go green here in just a moment. And Kevin, man, Daytona, we saw the duels last week, and it was a lot of experimenting. A lot of, we had some yellows, but we had some great racing out there, too, at the same time. Do we expect the same thing tonight? Do we expect patience? What are we going to see tonight out of these guys?
Yeah, every race is a new opportunity to start something different. Traditionally, this race only has about 3 to 4 cautions, but it's year 2 with the next-gen car, and iRacing has made some changes in the offseason. This car is darty in the draft, especially off the corners. It wants to get loose. The air is unstable around other cars. Cars moving across your nose can make your car move. And also the suspension's quite stiff in this ride, so I think it's going to be a rather challenging handful for these drivers as they try to navigate Daytona International Speedway.
And they're out there getting their laps in right now as we get ready for the 120 laps of racing, as I mentioned. Let's look at the race information. You're going to see it pop up on the screen here in about 2.5 seconds. I mean 2.5 seconds here as soon as I hit the right button. There we go. 78 degrees. 55% humidity under partly cloudy skies, and 2-mile-an-hour winds. That's the iRacing default weather, in case you didn't know. Around this 2.5-mile track, 120 laps, and of course presented by the NC811. We appreciate those guys for sponsoring the series once again. Not only that, but the Grand National Series, which of course you saw the second race yesterday at Auto Club Speedway, won by Pedro Mojica for a second straight season. Tonight, though, it's all about the number 3. Will it be a three-peat for Brian Macklin? That's one of the keys that we are going to see tonight. Also, we've got a little bit of history potentially happening this evening, and it's going to happen on lap 35. And we'll see, Kevin, if you can figure out what I'm talking about, because it was teased last night, actually, by a certain driver. Let's just put it like this. Somebody's going to hit a milestone that I don't know if people that have been on here for years have done in iRacing, period. There's your hint of what we're going to bring up. But first, I believe we're gridding, so let's take a look at the starting lineup for the 6th running of the Daytona 500K. And it starts with the front row from last week. John Higman Jr. picking up the pole. Tyler Dalton said to me after qualifying, Kevin, he said, I think I taught him too much.
Yes.
As he outran him there for the pole. And then, of course, we got the dual winner, Josh Parker. And basically, the odd numbers are those who finished from the winner down to on the odd side. Basically, down even numbers down the right side. Pedro Mojica will start fourth. David Comstock, they'll start there in the fifth position alongside him. Chad Coleman. Bentley Glazier, Jeff Ryan, they'll take row number 4. Kevin Stone, Donnie Leah will be in row number 5 as the cars start to roll off. Taking a look at row number 6, I'll let you take that from there, Kev.
Charles Wood starts on inside row 6, who's outside Jose Medina, followed by Mike Kelly and Stoney Benfield. Row 8 made up of Charles Van Schaik and Scott Stenzel. Nelson Rivera and Richard Beasley make up row 9. It's the Gerald Livingston, number 96, inside row 10. Anthony Calantoni, 2, is outside. Justin Mons, Brian Workman, Doug Sigmund, Doy Woods, Wesley Donaldson, Jimmy Coleman, Tommy Ryan, Joe Hudson. In the inside of row 15, Jose Gonzalez, Ron Hollifield. Rounding out your field, John Fowler, Glenn Campbell, Randall Yoakum, Doug Roth, Robert Friery, Mike Taya. It is Kevin Brown inside row 19, Scott Simley to his outside, Mike Montesi, Casey Duncan, Brian Macklin looking for the three-peat starts row 21, Eric Arnold to his outside, Joey Jatina, Ed and EJ O'Rourke make up 22, and the final run is the 21, tonight being piloted by Bob Gillenwater.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we'll have Tom Dreiling starting on the outside of final row.
There you go. So basically, it'll be 43 cars, and what you're about to see here is something that we want to bring to everyone's attention. And Kevin, unfortunately, a passing that happened here recently in the league.
Yeah, it's with heavy hearts that we share that Sim500 racer Ed Burrell passed away this week after a long illness. He was anticipating this race. Tonight we dedicate this race to Ed with our thoughts and prayers to his family and friends. In remembrance, driver Bob Gillenwater is running the number 21 that Ed had run all these years. And a way to remember Ed is to start out our season. Bob is going to come to the front of the field, lead lap 1 of competition, and then we will reset the field to the proper order and drop the green for tonight's event. So as they roll around here out front, pacing the field in memory of Ed Burrell, Chris, we have Bob Gillenwater running the car that Ed had prepared to race here tonight.
And, of course, that being one of the North Carolina 811 cars. You see 21 strong up on the screen for Ed Burrell. Unfortunately, again, as Kevin, you mentioned, cancer has taken too many people in life, including my own father, at an age too young. And, Ed was a great racer, and he was fun to be around. As a matter of fact, in this race last season, he finished in the top 10. And I think this is a perfect tribute to have. We'll also do a little bit more here this evening. But tonight and throughout the rest of this season, we'll pay tribute to Ed and, of course, all the family, all the friends, all the league members that were friends with Ed. We say thoughts and prayers from not only to Captain Esports Network, but to the league and from all the viewers and stuff like that. So as Bob will get back in line here, and we'll go green next time. Bye, Kev.
Yeah, spent a lot of nights racing with Ed in the channel, chatting with him and having sidebars in time. And Ed's going to be missed. His presence is going to be missed all season long as we come into race every Monday night.
Yeah, Ed made 11 starts in the Cup Series, I believe it was last season. And he actually made a handful of Grand National starts. But as I mentioned, the finish that really caught my eye was that top 10 when I was going through everything. Last night, just kind of looking over things, I was like, man, this man finished in the top 10 in this race last season. So definitely a pretty cool stat, I guess, for an unfortunate situation. But a cool tribute put together by Joey and everybody, a part of the league. And one we'll do here in just a little bit. We'll have another tribute for him when it's all said and done. So.
Yeah, so as you see, he's going to drop back to the starting position out in the back of the pack. John Higman Jr., your pole sitter, will pick up the field, and the pace car will turn left and set him free here to get tonight's event going. You saw on the outro there, Chris, perfect Chamber of Commerce weather. 78 degrees, track's 125 degrees, a little bit slippery, light winds, just perfect temperature and time frame for these drivers to get this event underway.
You will see the pace car is out on the track again. That's because they did throw a yellow here to get everything cycled back up and get everybody straight forward. They have turned the lights off. We will go green now. Obviously, this will count as a yellow on the screen, just FYI, when you see the ticker show up tonight. So if we do have more yellows, hypothetically, in this race, obviously, it'll be -1 on the yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and point that out. And also, we will be going green at the completion of lap 2. So when you look at it like this, now we're strategizing for a 118 lap race with the tribute and stuff. But I think it was definitely well done, and well done on your part, Kev. And unfortunately, I can't say I honestly ever had a conversation with Ed. Obviously, the only time I really got a chance to talk to him was here, or not even talk to him, but watch him was here, obviously on the channel and stuff. So. Again,
he was just an everyday guy. That's my sense of him. Just one of the guys you could just, spend any moment talking to him about anything, and just enjoyed his company. He was just one of the guys.
Just like all this league is. This league is a family, and that's one of the rare things you see in iRacing leagues is a community that is a family, and that's one thing that I will compliment Joey and this whole entire league on. Yes, people get mad at each other, people do whatever, but you know what? I've never heard any disrespect from one driver to another in this league. It's a family, and, we're looking forward to bringing the family together right now for 100 and what is going to be 18 laps of racing as we race not only to pay tribute for Ed Burrell, but to kick off the 2023 season, the 6th running of the Daytona 500K on the Captain Esports Network. Welcome aboard as we go green on a Monday night.
Across that start-finish line to head to turn number 1. Higman on the roll there. He's got Josh Parker pushing him through. Going to pull the lead going into turn number 1. Tyler Dalton still to the outside. They'll be 2 by 2 by 2 all the way to the backstretch.
I am surprised, to be honest with you, that Tyler and Higman didn't have some kind of plan here where maybe Higman took the outside lane or something, or worked it out to where Tyler could slide in behind him somehow. But instead, they're still side by side. You see the 58 of Pedro Mojica pushing Tyler Dalton out clear, and there's Chad Coleman there behind him. Jeff Ryan in that 3-car top side already starting to come to life here. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook, and they are in the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com, their main website. Lap 1, Tyler Dalton.
Yeah, Tyler's going to lead this from the high line. The high line tends to be a little bit stronger here, especially if these guys can get organized on that top side. John Higman right now having no help down there on the bottom as they roll through the 31-degree banking. Donnie Leah in the number 29 trying to make a push as he's moved around Josh Parker and is coming up to the front.
Shoot, shoot. Here comes that train topside. Already seeing 8 or 9 cars going single file here as they're just going to praise patience here. Tom Stock up there, you see as we ride with Bentley Glazier in the 18 car, but already starting to see the patience as the top, let's call it 10 cars. Calantoni right there also going single file up top.
Yeah, Dalton wanted to get one lap led, and he's going to achieve that objective early as he's in command of this race. And a lot of these drivers talked about moving the car around, and the high side tends to be a little more stable. And wow, I am shocked to see it single out so quickly. Everybody going to the high side for this time being. And our pole sitter, where's he? He's somewhere back there in the middle of the backstretch as the field enters turn 3.
John Higman is 20th right now. That inside line is going backwards really quickly right now, which, you know what? This race is all about patience tonight. It's all about 120 laps. You can lose it really quickly, as you saw last night in the actual 500. So a lot of cars going to be patient. You're seeing already the first 36 cars in the draft, and then there's about 5 or 6 that have fallen off of the draft. And as a matter of fact, Mike Chaya, as you mentioned in the 5, he is 50. He's actually about to go a lap down. Well, no, that must be wrong. You know what? He's already a lap down, unfortunately, it looks like, to the field there. So not sure what's going on with the 5.
Yeah, but look at these drivers. They're leaving a lot of space, a lot of patience right now. We saw in practice they were all trying to figure out how the bump draft was going to work, as it can be pretty treacherous here. As the race goes on, you can imagine that the energy is going to come forward. But right now, drivers just feeling things out, getting some temperature in the tires, kind of settling in, figuring out where it's at. And Chris, this is where you start to look at the scoring pylon, determine where your teammates are, and try to make a plan to get to the back bumper so you can work in tandems.
Tracy Lawrence said it best. You find out who your friends are really quickly. And when you look at this league, and Kevin, you could probably talk about this a little more than I can, there's 2 really, really big teams. And there's a couple of little teams. And what I mean by that is there's team name, which when I look at the list off the top of my head, Mojica, see Chad Coleman's right there. Donnie Lee, I believe, is in that channel. Josh Parker, Comstock. It's a big group of people. Then you got the Sim500 Mafia, Tyler Dalton. Off the top of my head, I scrolled through, and there's really not much help for him as I go down this list. But I know like Jimmy Coleman, Bob Gillenwater, Ron Holyfield, drivers like that, all a part of that team. Then you've got like Mike Kelly and Scott Simley, those guys in the Turn 1, I believe it is, what that team is called. I'm still learning team names a whole year later. But what I'm saying is there's the big groups, and then there's a couple sorority houses.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, the funny thing that I see here is these drivers have split up quite a bit with this top line getting kind of spread out. If you're out in the back and you don't hold on to that draft, being one of the last cars, you can lose the draft. We see a cluster of cars all to the top side, and then a little break, and then a little break, and then a little break. We've broken this field up early on. I'm kind of surprised to see this, Chris.
Now, Tommy Ryan, I should mention, for those fans of him, he did not make the start, so 41 cars did take the green flag, but I agree with you 100% as we ride on board with the 2-time champion, Brian Macklin, bottom side here as he's kind of getting the momentum rolling here a little bit. He's got Doy Woods there all over his derriere. Richard Beasley's there also. That's slang for butt, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't, tailgate, well, it's not a truck, so the spoiler, if you will.
Got it.
Never heard that term before, I assume.
Nope, that's a new one on me.
It's okay. You'll learn a lot of Scalanisms here every once in a while.
You start to see them get a little bit organized down there on the bottom. Some of those guys not content to ride, seeing if they can pick up some space. This is the part of the race where you learn. You pull down, you see if somebody comes in the draft, you see how much you could push somebody and whether you could move your way forward. A lot of drivers just, it's not in their nature to ride. They're going to find a way to see if they can move their way forward. And you're starting to see some of those drivers jump out of line out in the back. One of the things I did note, Chris, several of the cars that had dropped off the pack when they got organized.
Oh, one car in the wall here, top side, turn 3 and 4. Looks like he's going to be okay. It's one of that white and blue car. I'm trying to see who it is from here. He's going to flash by the screen in 2 seconds.
Doug Sigmund?
Is it
yeah,
Sigmund?
Doug Sigmund, I believe.
Unfortunately, he did a good job keeping it up there, so kept it out of trouble. We stay green. Appreciate the viewers watching tonight. 23 strong. I saw it up to 30 almost at one point. If you have some friends or family that love racing or want to see this race, send them a link. Share it. Whatever you got to do. If you stream yourselves, you can actually let me know, and I'll send you another link that can actually put this on your stream at the moment. There's ways to do that. I've just never talked about it. As down towards the front, Donnie Leah said, enough of this. I'm going Denny Hamlin on the field, and meaning he's going to break up that single file train. Josh Parker there behind him. David Comstock. Here comes Speedy Gonzalez. Richard Beasley in that bottom lane.
Yeah, traditionally we've seen the 81 of Josh Parker run to the high side whenever they're stacked up. He's not afraid to make it 3 wide. Right now he's tucked on the back bumper, beating the back bumper off of Donnie Lee as they go around the bottom. And they are making purchase. They've come up to the inside of Chad Coleman, who's currently running in third right now. And where we saw in the outset drivers content to ride right now, seems like they're on a little bit more of a press.
One guy who's not riding is that 30 car. He started all the way in 39th, and he's in 9th. That's the two-time champion, Ryan Macklin. He's not sleeping, if you will, right now with that personal comfort Toyota Camry. He's got that thing rolling right now.
Yeah, one thing to talk about, Chris, is last year, the dominant driver has moved on. Daniel Falkingham going to run the Coca-Cola eSports Series. Had a little troubles in his inaugural Daytona race, but we know he's going to have a great run after winning the most races in the championship here. And at some point, well, we're going to welcome him in. In fact, why don't we say hello to Daniel right now?
I was going to say, it was the perfect segue to bring in the driver of the, I've always wanted to do this, Joe Gibbs Racing eSports team in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series. I think I nailed that perfect. That's Daniel Falkingham. And what's up, Rook?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, buddy? Yeah, I think you were in a race kind of like this last Monday night. Unfortunately, though, it didn't go well. But still, man, talk about the experience of getting that first race under your belt, too, actually, if you count the Flash.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite an experience. We didn't really qualify that well, but I felt we had a really fast car, and we got up to the front. But we had a green flag pit stop, and then after that, it all went downhill. So, yeah, it wasn't the greatest race. But at the end of the day, the experience of it was amazing. Like I said, it was my first ever series in the Coke Series, or my first ever race in the Coke Series, I should say. And it was quite an experience. You get to race against the best of the best, and yeah, just hopefully we can try to build off of our race at Daytona. I mean, we had a fast car. I felt like we handled pretty good. Like I'm seeing a lot of these boys having trouble with handling out here, but even like what we were racing last week, we had to fight the handling a little bit on that front too. So. Yeah, but we had a lot of fun. Like I said, we didn't get the finish like we wanted, but we still got 17 races left to make it up, and hopefully try to make the best out of a bad situation.
All right, so I got to ask the obvious question here. So, for years, in some cases for months for some or whatever, you've always had that thought, man, I'd love to get up there with those guys. You watch them on the iRacing channel every other Tuesday night, and you're like, I just want to see what it'd be like. What would be like? Is it what you expected? Is it different? And like put us inside your head. Like, what are you seeing and visually just what do you see happening in the race, basically, and stuff like that when you're in that car with these guys, knowing that, okay, these are the guys of iRacing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is what I expected. Like, these guys are the best. These guys are definitely ruthless. Like, there's not really a lot of room given. Everyone's playing for every position, but at the end of the day, that's what you gotta do. Because, like, we're all the best, like, we're 40 of the best in the world, and, like, everyone's gonna try to get every spot. There's, like, almost, like, no take. There's no give or take at all whatsoever, so, which I like. I'm that kind of racer, I feel like. Like, if you saw me all last year, like, I tried to get every spot I could. And thankfully, I get to be a part of that as well, because every single person in that 40-car field is doing the same thing, because they have the same goals that you do.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a blast so far, getting the first race out of the way. We go to Milwaukee next Tuesday, ready to get after it, try to see if we can have a better finish than we did at Daytona. But, yeah, like I said, the experience so far has been quite amazing.
That's going to be interesting, going to Milwaukee for the second race. That's an interesting twist right there, if you will, there for the second race. But right now, we'll 18 laps in, Daniel. I mean, a lot of patience. I think you saw just a minute ago that the 29 car jumped out of line there and broke up that single file line. You see the 30 right now, Macklin working his way up there to the front. Talk about what you're seeing so far in this race. Are you kind of surprised with what you're seeing, or I mean, what has caught your eye so far?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's what I expected. Everyone, like, both lines are even. A lot of people are moving around, which I expected, because what I've noticed these guys practice, like I said, we had this in our Coke race last Tuesday, is handling matters a lot more than it did last year. Everyone, like, once the tires give out, I mean, the track down is very hot in this session too. So as we go along into the run, right around this point right now, is the tires are gonna start giving up, handling is gonna become a factor. And it's gonna be harder to make those pushes to, like, try to be stable with the guy you're pushing, because everyone's moving around so much. Like, your best goal is to try to push on the straightaway, but you have to give in the corners, because if you get someone's rear end, like, all jacked out of line, then you're really not going to go anywhere. Unless there's two people that are confident enough, like you see two people, I believe that Mr. Josh Parker, Kevin Brown, or maybe I think it's Donnie Lee, my mistake. But as you see, they're going to try to make someone on the bottom here. If they're confident enough of working together, they can move that inside line. Right now, that outside line seems to be dominant. Everyone's cool with riding in line, trying to save fuel, trying to make it to the first pit stop. But as we get down to the end of this race, that's not going to look like it's for long.
And of course, that's Daniel Falkingham, who is joining us up here in the booth. Kevin, obviously you've had your racing there with Daniel. Talk a little bit of what you're seeing. You've been in here with Daniel. Obviously, this has been a wild race. See a couple cars jumping out of line now.
Yeah, just see the 81 drop off to the apron. Not sure if he didn't like what he was seeing there as we come to lap number 20 working this. He was down low, had Jeff Ryan beating on his back bumper, slipping and sliding, and Josh Parker drops out of line here as we pick up the field coming to lap number 21.
And of course, at lap number 21, we're actually going to take a minute here and just quiet the mics down as we pay tribute to Ed Burrell, who passed away this past Friday night, a league member here at Sim500. All right, there we go. Lap number 21 and even lap 22 for Ed Burrell. And as a matter of fact, all the laps this season will pay tribute to the driver there of the number 21, which tonight being driven by Bob Gillenwater. Surprisingly, riding in the back, just hanging out. That's what Bob likes to do. He's going to be very patient, riding behind teammate Joey Jatina. So I can't help but think about these cars a little bit, Daniel, and the way they drive. Obviously, you guys run open setups there in the Coke Series. This is a fixed setup. You guys have a little more, I guess, control of how that car can be darty and that kind of thing. So have you learned anything from the car trying to do that, especially with the transition off the corner? Because it seems like that's when the car just wants to almost unload and all the weight maybe goes to the rear of the car and sends it, like, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe puts all the weight on the front and sends the car to the infield.
Yeah, especially working on the open setups. I don't really have still a lot of setup knowledge. I'm still learning as we go.
Right.
I've been learning that over the last year, because the last year is the first year I ran with open setups and stuff, doing the road pro stuff. But what I've noticed between the fixed set, like with the fixed set, starting maybe around like last summer, with the way the tire model works on this car, it seems like the right rear wants to give up very easily. Like, no matter, it seems like what track you go to, you would always get free no matter what. The way the setup is, the way the tire model is, that's just how it is. But I think we do have some sort of tire update that's coming in the new build that should be coming up here in the next few weeks. So, yeah, like this week we've been putting a lot of work on Milwaukee so far with our team over at North Force Racing, just trying to get ready for that. But after that, it's going to be a whole different ball game, because they said we should be having some sort of tire update in the next build. So that could change the handle of these cars and how they drive and how the tire reacts on the race surface. I am very excited to learn, see how that works. Hopefully there's a lot of changes, hopefully there's a lot of improvement. I heard this tire something else if you don't take care of it, and that's what I learned a lot near the end of the season last year, just trying to get more experience with the next gen car, how quick it comes, and just like how much of a handful it can be, and no matter what track you go to.
Look like almost some issues there for Eric Arnold. I've seen a couple times some cars pop up on my telemetry over here of like going to pit road or something, and then they get back out. So I don't know if there's just maybe getting loose off the corner or what's going on towards the back. We'll have to try to catch that. Kevin, what have you seen so far here, man? This has been a very calm race. I don't see too many cars getting loose, super loose, if you will, as you see Pedro Mojica go to the front here. So now Tyler Dalton not leading that train as he's led here for the first few laps, but a lot of calmness, it seems like, so far.
Yeah, I wonder if Tyler was thinking about fuel mileage being out front. He's been burning a lot of fuel and probably wanted to pull back now. He's tucked in the slipstream of Chad Coleman as Pedro Mojica, who ran second all the way from the outset, picks up the lead here on lap number 27. Pedro now jumps up in the Trans-Service Chevrolet out to the front. He's got Kevin DeBrown sitting behind him with tap-out tuning Camaro of Chad Coleman still riding in third since the onset. How about the run for Mike Montesi on the bottom in the shiny number 6?
Yeah, Montesi started 37th on the field as he goes working his way up here in that the chrome number 6, which is an awesome looking paint. I love anything chrome. So as you see the 21 strong there on his hood. And if, by the way, viewers, I'm probably going to pay for this. I'm just warning everybody in advance. If you have any questions for Daniel that you are legit questions that you would like to ask, because it's not something we get to do all the time, is talk to a driver in a Coke series. So if you're one that likes to watch the Coca-Cola iRacing series and have a question for him, feel free to throw it in chat, and if it's legit, I'll ask him, that kind of thing. But Daniel, I do got to bring this up, and I know you saw it on social media. So your teammate, Bobby Zielinski, obviously former Final Four driver last season, and Bobby's actually also a driver that I've had the pleasure of doing broadcasts for. Bobby used to race back in a league called Sim Racing Authority, which is ran by Bobby Cheney, and it's still going on, I believe. And a whole lot of the guys, Femi Olot, Zielinski, off the top of my head, Logan Clampett, those guys all came in that league, all came from that league and stuff. And Bobby's one of those that I've had a chance to broadcast and watch him win. If you ever ask him about a Chicago race, he'll share it with you. But what's it been like having somebody with his experience in that series now and being a Final Four driver to kind of lean on and to learn? Such a good question he's not answering. I've left him speechless as Jose Gonzalez. So here we go, wrecking in the back. Couple cars on the outside wall. Josh Parker heading for pit road. And looks like everybody just kind of scatters around. I don't see really any heavy damaged cars. And caution's going to come out for the first time here at lap 30. Trying to see.
Yeah, I know. That just looks like the 26 got loose coming up off the corner all by himself. Nobody around was moving up to the high side. The car got loose, and everybody else behind him was trying to take evasive action, and that's going to bring us to caution number 1.
Caution number 1, as I kind of said earlier, it's going to say the second caution. It's actually the first, just the way the settings are and stuff. But let's go back and see, as Kevin mentioned, it looks like it was Jose Gonzalez that went for a little ride for the infield. Trying to look for Jose right now on my timing and scoring. They got him in 15th right
Chris,
now.
this comes back to the cars just getting loose up off the corner and put a little wheel in it, and it'll break free.
And it
Most
looks,
of the time we've seen this on the bottom, not on the top there. Jose
there you
able
go.
to collect it.
yeah, let me rewind it here and get you a better angle at all of this as that camera tries to take over here. All right, so Jose is up on that top side. And you know what? I'm going to bring this up to Daniel here in a second once we get him back. But, you know, the car's already getting unloaded right there. I was going to bring up the seam that's right there. Is that the Ada Yoakum, it looks like, maybe?
NC811 was involved. Wesley Donaldson, who was having a great run, drove all the way through the field, got a part of that, and I think he took the biggest hit in that number 91 Camaro.
Yeah, he gets up into the other 21 strong car. I think that was Yoakum, and then there was another car that was able to keep it straight but got some contact from it. And that could have been a heck of a lot worse.
Yeah, strange place to have an incident, but everybody scattered there.
Let's see if I can get you a better view here from the blimp. Okay, right there. Here's a good view. Trying to see that gold car is down there at the bottom, and it looks like a train. Is that Trans Service?
Yeah, I believe that's Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell. Okay, yep. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it looked like everybody just kind of trying to avoid Gonzalez.
That's close there.
Yeah. Wow.
Good maneuver for these drivers trying to make sure they avoid the spinning car of Randy Yoakum as he went down into the grass. And one of the things we know, Chris, the damage model on this car has changed. You could take some pretty good hits as long as you don't damage the tire, damage the engines. You could still be competitive, and I think pretty much everybody's going to be able to drive out of that. We didn't see any massive hits. We'll see how that plays out as the race goes on.
Just don't break a toe link.
No doubt. That is, we have pit road action going on here. Everybody go in, and I have to imagine if you've got tires, you're going to take them. They've got unlimited tires here tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they have unlimited tires. It should be 3 sets, I believe, but
because they set the lineup for the drivers because of the qualifying order, they had to set the server up. They're unable to, as far as I know,
okay.
set the restriction on tires so these guys could take as many tires as they want here tonight, which is going to be a blessing to them because I'll tell you, towards the end of that run, we just started seeing drivers sliding away. Wesley Donaldson down there in his pit team taking quite a bit of attention to the WBD diecast Camaro, trying to get that straightened out. They just banged out that right front fender. Plenty of time here, Chris, to get the car fixed. Fortunately, as the field rolls around here coming off turn 2.
As they go down the back straightaway here, I'm going to get you a replay of the cars coming down pit road. So you can see the pit stops here, what all took place. Everybody pretty much 4 tires and fuel for all. Couple cars there going by. Not sure if those were wave rounds or whatnot. As we get ready to come to the green flag, you'll see the race off pit road won by Mojica. I wonder if that's coming in the next update too, is faster pit stops. Because right now you're seeing 14 and 15 second stops, and now in NASCAR you're seeing them pull off like pit stops as quick as the Italian crew in Lightning McQueen in cars. Heat stop.
I'll tell you what, I wish I had a faster pit stop last Tuesday night.
Welcome back, Daniel, by the way. So, unfortunately, we lost you here for a second, but hey, we're getting ready to come back.
My headset crashed on me. Apologies about that.
It happens every time you're with me. It's my fault.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing I'm not running this season.
Fair enough. Hey, Chad Coleman leads this race, and all right, I got to paint this one for you guys. Coming up in 2 laps. All right, it was already amazing enough last season when he made the 1,000th start in this league's history. Yes, he's ran over 1,000 races. It would be ironic enough if he leads coming up here in 2 laps, because if he could find a way to make it 2 laps here without Pedro Mojica going all Daniel Suarez on him, if you will, then Chad Coleman will complete his 100,000th lap in this series. Think about that for a second.
Dang.
100,000 laps. Don't ask how he found that note, by the way. He shared that with me last night, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He said it's like 150,000 miles. So, of course, my joke back was you might want to get an oil change soon.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so here he is. If he can, it'd be kind of ironic if he led this next lap doing this. But, I mean, 100,000 laps. I mean, I don't even know if I've done that much. And I've been on here over 10 years.
I have to imagine he had this lap circled. He wanted to lead it.
You know he's probably telling Pedro, don't pass me. David, don't pass me. Well, and then again, he's got the whole team name channel right there behind him. So you know he's
gonna get it.
Yeah, he's gonna get this. So how about that? Leads his 100th, well, not his 100,000th lap led, but 100,000 laps ran. That's
amazing.
I don't know how to explain that. I mean, other than I'll never do that. In iRacing.
Ooh, tense moment over there off of turn 2. The 3 got sideways. Rivera had to check up. He went up across the outside lane coming off of turn 2. Robert Friery III got into the back bumper, tapped him, but was able to stay off of him. We avoided calamity on the backstretch there just a moment ago. Jeff Ryan having a good run in that number 3, but that car looks rather unsettled in the corners.
Well, I'm sure it's got a little bit of damage still on it from that contact. A little bit, or wait, no, I'm getting him mixed up with Yoakum. Wrong guy. Wrong 21 car, or 21 strong car.
Well, these cars are dancing a lot, Chris. You watch them go through the corner, you would think typically you'd just be hugged right on that double yellow line. And Daniel, every time you see these cars moving around, they're moving around because of the air and the draft. It's had such a significant impact with this new update.
They like to move around quite a bit. I definitely noticed that, especially just the way the air just moves around. Definitely, I've noticed that the last few years for sure, especially since we've had like this particular like plate package come out. So, but yeah, it definitely makes for a lot of handling. Makes to make sure you keep control of your car. It's not like this street-wide gridlock that we've had like several years before that. So it definitely makes it for another challenge, and it kind of gives it a more realistic feel.
So I got a viewer named Aaron Thomas who watches all the streams. And he's becoming like that, if I need something, he's going to go get it for me guy. He just went and found how many laps I've ran in iRacing. 44,430. So I am not even to 50,000. And Chad's at 100,000 in this league. Anyways, track temp just hit 129 degrees to go back to what we were talking about there a second ago. And of course, that's also going to make this track very, very slick, of course, with tire wear and that kind of thing. But before we had the issues, Daniel, I started to talk a little bit about your teammate, Bobby Zielinski. Of course, I had the chance to broadcast for him in another league, and this was a few years back. And what's it been like having a driver that's right there in the Final Four last season? He's been there for numerous seasons now and a part of this Joe Gibbs Esports team with you. What's it been like working with him?
Yeah, it's been great. Like I said, we've actually raced together for so many years too, back in a team called North, which is run, which has involved a lot of the same people from SRA as well. So we all know each other. It's a lot of fun, especially having a teammate. He's got all the coach experience, and me coming in as a rookie, it's hard to live up to the expectations too. Trying to make sure we place high in the team standings as well, even though like we didn't have a good showing last time at Daytona. Like he ended up like 23rd or something, and he finished near the back. So wasn't a great first race for both of us, but like I said, we still got so many races left where the points are so close after the first race, anything can change within the blink of an eye. So definitely a lot more to look forward to. Hopefully we can turn the ship around real quick, because we definitely need to. Oh,
I'm sure you will. And you guys sounds like a good team going already there for you. Now you've got me kind of reminiscing back to some of the names who I've remembered, and I know I mentioned some there as your microphone or your headset popped out, but I remember obviously Logan Clampett, Femi Olot, Marcus Richardson, who was once a Coke driver, I believe. Let's see, who else was over there at that time? Let's see, you mentioned Zielinski. Oh my gosh, there's that one. That was definitely fun to be a part of. So I know you're with a good group of guys from that North League, as you mentioned, and so on and so forth. So, all right, we're 40 laps complete now, so we've hit 100 miles. We're third distance. And Mike Montesi, Brian Macklin, Chad Coleman, Pedro Mojica. And one car blinking out there just a little bit. So what it looks like to me, that top side just seems to be where you want to be. And I don't know if that's because maybe with the slick track, you're not turning the wheel as much as you would down there at the bottom, because you're kind of bogging the car down. But also at the same time, it's you got the air there above you. Those cars maybe getting a little side draft with the way iRacing has it all set up. But are you seeing, well, as we say that, the top line moves to the bottom. So they just maybe look like an idiot.
Yes, I watch these guys right now. They're starting to get a little more antsy.
What's
See that bottom line has formed, and You know, these drivers now tighter to each other. In the beginning of the race, they had left a lot of space, but right now they're looking to move forward. And I think this is really the time where you're trying to find your teammates and just try and get in line. Although I have to call it out, everybody has different strategies. You have a couple drivers who have hung off the back of the pack. I saw Doug Roth back there in the 43, just kind of riding around in the back, trying to make sure that if the big one happens, he's not going to get caught up in it.
Yeah, just looking at some more names coming up to the front here. Justin Mons and that 49 car starting to make an appearance up there at the front as they come up on the back of Randy Yoakum, who's going to go a lap down here. Let's see if these guys can do what the ARCA Series could not pull off in real life, which is funny. I predicted that was going to happen. I seem to do that every year. But
Change this year for the drivers a lap down. They used to tell them to hang against the outside line. Now on the play tracks, they're asking them to be down along the yellow.
Interesting. Well, and obviously each league has its preference. Drivers have their preference. You know, some people get...
Oh. That was a hip check from Randy Yoakum just going down the back straightaway. Sorry.
That's
made me nervous.
That's the risk of the bottom line, basically, is unfortunately you can get some contact and things like that, but some people get all types of mad when drivers don't go to the top side. But the way I look at it is kind of like road course racing. If the driver at the lap car holds the line, it is your job as the lead lapper to pass them.
Yep. Yeah, you know what we've seen, and I'm curious, Daniel, if you have any thought about this, is the air from the other cars driving across the nose or changing lanes or whatever seems to disrupt everybody quite a bit. We've heard drivers saying, I'm turning right, but the car is weaving left.
Dirt track. I think we might have lost Daniel's connection again with his headset. It always happens on Neon.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm back. I don't know what it is with this headset lately. It seems like always on Monday nights whenever I'm with you guys, it wants to act up all stupid. So, thankfully I haven't had a problem with it in Coke yet, but hopefully just hope it don't happen.
Well, I mean, I guess the only time you really need a microphone is if you get pulled to the booth or whatever, and obviously when you get a good finish or whatnot. But all right, so Milwaukee, I got to ask the obvious question here. As I think of New Hampshire, I think of other flat tracks. Are we double shifting through the corners? Because I'm assuming with the speeds there, you're probably going down to fourth gear or to third gear almost.
No, we don't go down to third gear. I feel like down to fourth gear is what you're going to want to do. That's what at least I've noticed. Well, we're going to find out when we go to New Hampshire, because New Hampshire is on the Coke Series schedule that will be on later this year. So we're going to find out there. But I remember running this race last year that I can't remember if we even went to fifth gear. I know we shifted down the fourth and corners, but I don't know if the gear was long enough where we didn't need to shift to fifth gear. But I know for sure that you don't have to double downshift. Fourth gear is about the lowest you're going to need to get around like them flat tracks, but around New Hampshire. But I know for Milwaukee, it's going to be its own challenge. It's going to probably be its own unique challenge with it being an actual flat track. It gives you like that old school New Hampshire kind of feel. So I'm very excited because I mean I tend to feel like I'm pretty good at the flat tracks, and I like the flat track, short track. So hopefully maybe we can have a semi decent run. But I know it's going to be all about qualifying well because those races are just so short. We only got like a 100-lap race, so like qualifying is like more important than ever.
Right, and on a 1 mile track that's pretty much flat because it used to be a horse track back in its heyday, no pun intended. But you know, it's going to be all different types of important there. So Chad Coleman leads, Pedro Mojica, David Comstock, Justin Mons, Kevin DeBrown. All right, so you were last season teammates with the majority of those guys up there right now. So I want to put you in that channel for a second, but you're up here. What are some of the conversations outside the fun ones that are probably happening here? What are they discussing likely amongst each other? Because you know they're probably talking like, all right, we need to do this or what, or runs that are coming or whatnot.
Well, I mean, I can't give away all the secrets, you know.
True.
Gotta protect the fellas, you know. But I will say, probably at this point, we're all just talking about, you know, we're probably just being patient, but probably just thinking about like what we're gonna do on the next pit stop. Just getting ready for if there's gonna be another caution. Just get ready for just all different plans, and then just talking about how we're gonna set up the finish and all that. But right now everyone's just riding in line, probably not saying anything, just enjoying the race, just trying to click off laps, and just hopefully just get to a point where maybe they can all pit together, possibly, if they can all like find each other, and then go from there.
Everybody doing a great job, 47 laps in next time by. So we're coming up on the 125-mile mark here in just a few minutes of this 300-mile race. So we pitted at lap number 30. Cars can go with 100% fuel, roughly about 35 to 40 on a tank of fuel. So we're looking at somewhere to laps, we'll call it 65 to 70 in that range, which means we're still looking at a two-stop race here in this race, Kev. So still a lot of action here to go.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm watching these top two. One of the things Chad Coleman is doing is he's running down low on the corners, and as they come off, pulling out just a little bit above Pedro. Pedro's able to suck up here, coming down the back straightaway, and just hammers the back bumper, propels the 38 out in front of him. And the two of them are able to maintain that pace. And this is a formidable duo, but it's made into a trio with Comstock sitting right there behind him. They're trying to fend off Justin Mons, who's got Macklin trying to shove him to the high side. Kevin DeBrown's right there looking for any opening he can get. These guys are getting really racy up here in this top 10.
Yeah, getting kind of dicey up here. As Mon's getting loose in the tri-oval there.
Yeah.
Look like there's a couple places you don't want to bump, and one of them is that tri-oval area. There was a couple times in last night's actual race I was watching them push in the tri-oval, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing? I mean, I know you're the pros, but what are you doing?
Good run for Bentley Glazer right now, running in that 13th position, just quietly hanging right in there, and he's on the back bumper of the number 2 car. Mike Kelly, we haven't said anything, and one of the things I would say, Chris, which is fascinating to me, is getting this far, there's only one car, one lap down, everybody else still in competition, and nobody out of the race at this point.
Yeah, nobody's out right now, just one car lap down. That's Randy Yoakum. Unfortunately for him, as one car gets loose back, was it Beasley? Had to make a save off turn 4. I saw him heading for the infield. I usually bring this up once every Daytona race, but it looks like he's doing an impersonation of Jeff Bodine in 1981's Daytona 500. If you haven't seen that video on YouTube, please do. It's actually kind of funny.
Pretty big front pack right now. A lot of drivers kind of lined up there, 2 by 2 by 2, all the way back to Joey Jattina, who's currently running in that 18th position. Doing a nice job. New sponsor on Joey's car there in Chesterton, and nice looking yellow and red car. Gotta love that paint scheme.
Yeah, Chesterton, a new sponsor, part of the scene here. And I'm the one thing that's catching my eye right now. Justin Mons is like 4 lanes all by himself from the pushing of Macklin. I don't know if you're seeing this, but his car, if there wasn't a car on the inside, he could pretty much cover the top groove all the way down to the inside wall.
Also starting to see a lot of appearance of know what is below and call before you dig. The NC811 cars all kind of making their way in their appearance throughout this field. You can recognize them by the green coloring. Quite a few cars in that livery, and the NC811 team is doing a pretty good job now here getting into the mix.
Yeah, they're getting together, as you mentioned. A whole bunch of them are part of that. Obviously, Randy Yoakum's one of them. Tommy Ryan, who didn't make the start of the race. Those are a couple just off the top. But, of course, you got Jattina, as you mentioned. Mike Kelly's the part of it also. But one thing that we did not mention.
Ron Holyfield in the 11.
Oh, Ron Holyfield. Good call there. But one thing we did not mention, you bring up the Mike Kelly machine. Guess who won the Xfinity or Grand National race? I'm used to calling it Xfinity. The Grand National race last week in Daytona. That would be one Mike Kelly.
Mr. Kelly had a nice run to open the season. It's always great to win on the opener. And, you watch this lead group come off of turn 4, coming down that short straightaway to the tri-oval. Cluster of about 18 cars. Then you have a group of probably about 8 or 10 cars. And then you go back to the 15 car,
right,
who's just now coming out of turn number 4 as the leaders are going into turn number 1. They're pretty stretched out here. I would imagine that if this continues to run green, that big pack is going to run some of these guys down. Once again, they come up on Randy Yoakum here coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Randy, unfortunately, just needs a break. He needs a caution. But here we are now, 22 laps into this run.
Must have some engine damage, because typically when the field goes by, you could pick up
Oh,
the
he's got more than engine damage. He's all over the
Watch
place.
out.
That car is just swerving. I mean, that's that air that you guys discussed.
He could also have a broken front end. You can drive with some wheel damage and hoping for a caution to get the car sorted out. But boy, that thing is evil up on
So
now
fi-
look at the complexion of this, Chris. They're all in the bottom lane. At the outset of the race, they were all riding the fence. Now they're all in the yellow line. That tells me that they're all gearing up to.
I think it's still, well, we're still about 10, 15 laps from that, but maybe it's more of a feel thing. But you know what? Where's the Pied Piper at right now? Chad Coleman, Mojica, those guys, they're on the bottom lane. They're all trying to get to that lane that they know is moving. The top side just hasn't seen enough energy. Is that seem right, Daniel? I think we lost him again. But it happens. But well, I say that now, and here comes Casey Donkett up there on the top side.
Well, I'll tell you that running this race yesterday on the service, the top line was the place to be. If you could get a bunch of cars organized, they definitely can do a lot of damage up there. It's a different art to run the top side here. A lot of drivers are bottom feeders at this type of racetrack, but you also see a lot of tire wear when you turn that car down in corner down on the bottom lane. So some of the drivers looking to have a little tire conservation will run a little higher.
Hello, I'm back.
Hello again.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm having this many issues, but hopefully that's the last of it.
It's me. It's me. As I said, I will take the blame. But real quickly, as we get to pit stops, let's step away for a quick second. Let's hear from our friends at the NC811, the sponsor of the Cup Series, and Sim500 here in the Daytona 500.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are 56 laps into the Daytona 500K, the sixth running. You see the man right there in the 30 car, as these cars are fancy. That is Brian Macklin, who, of course, has won this race the last 2 seasons. Who else has won this race? There you see him. E.J. O'Rourke, who was going to be here tonight. Unfortunately, he had to miss this event. Won it back in 2020. Chad Coleman. Yes, the Iron Man, the 100,000 lapper. He's won this race in 2019. And then Nick Cohan, a name I know very well, as I always like to say, don't mess with the Cohan. There in 2018 won this race. This being the 6th running. And let's see how well my friends here know Daytona 500 history. How many drivers have three-peated the Daytona 500? The actual one.
Repeated the Daytona.
Three-peated.
For a failure, you had to go a long way back.
You have anything?
I want to say Jimmy Johnson.
He
That's
five-peated
right.
the championship. And the answer actually is no one.
No one.
No one has ever won it 3 times in a row. So, Brian Macklin could do something interesting tonight in this race. And I mean, now with the way the racing's set up, and of course it's been kind of brought up now with what happened in Sunday night's race, the overtime and stuff like that. Now it's all of a sudden the hot topic of, oh, do we even need overtime in these races? But it's a deal now where, I mean, we've had 3 straight wild cards win that race in real life. So, you know, you start to wonder, you know, and I don't fully blame this on overtime or anything like that, but it's like, man, you're almost got 40 cars you can pick every year now.
Yeah, they didn't seem to tear them up this year as much as they did. I mean, they did crash a bunch of cars, but there was quite a few really good cars at the end that had a chance to win. Man, for every time they come off of turn 4, I draw up in my seat. They're so loose coming up off the corners, especially turn 4.
As we hit the halfway point, and one thing that's different this season, there is no halfway bonus. No halfway of 10 points, or maybe we can call it the Daniel Falkingham rule. I don't know, because he would outscore some of the racers in this series alone with just bonus points. But either, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm kind of glad they abolished the rule, because honestly, we really wasn't a fan of the halfway points anyway.
I mean, I was a fan of the old Winston Cup $10,000 that they'd give away to the halfway leader. That was kind of a cool old school thing they did back in the heyday. But either way, hey, shout out to the viewers watching. We've had between, I think, like 22 and 30, I think, throughout the night. Let's see, some guy named Kevin England's been chatting a little bit. So you got War, Justin Pennick with a very nice compliment. A smooth broadcast. I've got that man fooled.
Brian Wertman down there on the apron coming off onto the back straightaway by himself. The leaders are coming off of turn 2. They're going to catch up to Brian here.
That's because Brian actually made a pit stop.
I saw
looks
him
like he,
down there.
Yeah, he came in 13.8, so I would say that's 4 tires and fuel, but a 13-second stop with this build is pretty fast for the car. So interesting to see what he does there. But yeah, we should be shaping up to see pit stops, I would say, in the next 5 to 10 laps. So obviously you want to get to that bottom lane, but you know, this is your time where you got to find your friends. You got to find your team. You know, you got Coleman, Mojica, Comstock, DeBrown. Those guys right there are going to work together. And then you got those 811 guys, of course. Higmans is down there and towards 33rd, but he's like 7 seconds back. So he's not going to be able to work with some of these guys up front. But Tyler Dalton, Joey Gittino, Mike Kelly, Bentley Glazier, Jimmy Coleman, all those guys are going to work together here. So I think as Brian Wertman does a very Brian Wertman thing and just gets out of the way of everybody.
This could become very tricky. You got 20 cars in this lead pack. A couple cars going to signal. They don't have the wave the hand out of the window kind of thing. They can give a little shout in sim to tell people they're going to pit, but still, if they get 12 cars out of this 20 that duck off the pit road, it could be very interesting to see everybody trying to get down and to pit road speed coming off of there. Good run for a couple new guys here. You got Kevin Stone. He's right there in the 21st position. Inside of him is the Casey Duncan, number 71. Saw problems earlier for, well, who was it? We saw the incident earlier. Let me notes real quick.
Oh, the 91?
The 91 car, yeah.
Yep, Wesley
And
Donaldson.
He's had a good recovery here. It's Donaldson running in 24th, but still with that lead pack. His car still competitive. And, you know, a couple of the key guys like Tyler Dalton very quietly just running back there about mid-pack.
Yeah, Dalton back there mid-pack, but he's with his guys back there. Joey Gittino's back there, Jimmy Coleman, Ron Holyfield, all these guys. I think they're getting set up now. Yeah, you don't want to lose track position and that kind of thing, but get set up now to pit with your guys. But the one thing I worry about, Daniel, wait, what's your preference on this one? Would you rather pit with a huge pack, or would you rather have a smaller pack coming to pit road?
I just have enough guys where I feel like once you get out of the pits, you can make up a lot of time. That could be with 5 cars, that could be with 15 cars. As long as you can just come out with a nice little group, especially with people that you're working with, I think that's going to be your best bet. Especially like the guys like Coleman, Pedro, David, all them guys. If all those guys will fit together, I think they'll be in good shape.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the less amount of cars. Like when we'll sit there and talk, me and whoever's racing, and then if I hear like 7 to 10 people go, I'm pitting this time, pitting this time, pitting this time, pitting this time, I'm like, I'm not pitting this time. But then if you get like 4 or 5, then I'm like, all right, I'll go for it. And And the one thing that I think is one of the most underrated discussions, as I'm seeing cars in the back of that pack, is where you're going. Because that's something obviously you're not going to see in real life. You're not going to see guys say, oh, I'm going down by the inside wall, or hey, I'm going to the line, or whatever. It's just wave your hand and go to pit road. Here, you're kind of going more in detail of when you're pitting. You're going to have guys say, hey, I'm pitting, I'm going to the inside wall. All right, I'll pit on the yellow line. All right, I'll go about halfway between. I'll be at the wall. All those different kind of factors, because if you don't, it almost becomes a game of Russian roulette, if you will, to decide, hey, who's going to which lane, and don't run them over.
Yeah, Garrett, I wouldn't be surprised. We might be seeing the pit stops here very soon, because we starting to see everyone move to the inside lane. We don't really got anyone racing double file, so I wouldn't be surprised anytime now we're going to be seeing some pit stops.
Probably, I would say this lap, if not the next lap, if you're getting down single file right here, because they did it pretty quickly. Let's see, as they come off the corner, anybody hang a left? Nobody yet.
Nobody yet. I think when you look at the way they structure themselves, you have to remember that some of these guys in the middle, they can run half throttle. The draft lets them pull up, and they're going to save a lot of fuel. Someone like Chad Coleman, who picked up the lead over there in lap 40, he's been probably running hammer down all the way through. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the 38 and some of his teammates peel off and be the first group.
Well, I think Chad's going to have to be the first one. I mean, he's been leading the draft, as you said, the whole entire time pretty much here. So you know he's going to be probably burning less or burning more fuel. So I would think he and his crew are going to be the first ones to pit road here out of the bunch. So I think you're on a good point there, Kevin. Let's see. It's not this time either. So
See someone like Kevin DeBrown who runs with them. He's kind of off on his own in that group. He's not tucked in right nose to tail. That becomes rather interesting, where these drivers try to make up the ground to get to the back bumper. And really, pitting is about getting to pit road as fast as you can and making sure you have somebody to follow. So you guys were talking about having a lot of cars. I kind of like that approach, because if you screw up your timing, somebody else in a big pack probably did too. It means you don't get left all alone without a dance partner coming off pit road.
the one thing I will say, I like to go as long as I can on fuel. But on these tracks, I've learned from running in super speedway leagues that it seems like the earlier you pit with a group, like if you can get the pit road a lap sooner than the others, if you can get packed up really quickly, you will pass the cars ahead. So where I'm going with that is if like Tyler Dalton, if Jatina, if those guys back there decide to play the card and say, hey, we're coming here and pit, like say this time around, and then the other guys come at 71, it almost seems like, and I don't ever get why, it don't make sense to me, but like seems like they are able to make the jump on that the field in front. Seems to happen a lot more.
Chatter on pitting here. Hearing some chatter on the radios.
Oh yeah, so here some of the back of the pack's already coming in. As you see down there in the pit board down at the bottom.
Here we go.
Punch to the front, as expected. Everybody scatters. Lock it up. Be careful. There's a couple bumps there you got to be careful of. 55. Now you got to be careful running each other over.
That looks like to be all the team name guys and some others.
That was about as smooth as you could go. Because that's another overrated thing about pit stops like this, is remembering who started where. One thing I try to do is, in my head, is like, okay, Doy Woods overshot his pit stall, or not Doy, but I'm sorry, it's Donnie Leah. Had to back it up a little bit there. But I try to remember, okay, who's in front of me? Say, okay, Daniel Falking is ahead of me. He started P2. I started 15th. And you're on my inside. Or somebody's on my inside. I know I need to let this guy go. Here comes the rest, or another portion of the field here. I have to remember, okay, to get to my pit stall, I need to let you go. So I will check up a little bit here as it gets a little hectic here. Looks like
someone was spinning there, but maybe they're just locking up the brakes, trying to get down to pit road speed.
I saw the 6, it looks like, overshot his pit stall a little bit.
Jeff Ryan, leader, slid through his pit stall, gave up the lead. He led one lap. Now 26 of Jose Gonzalez leads the field.
And then here we got the sharing of pit stalls. Bob Gillenwater and Tyler Dalton are actually in the same pit box pitting. That is done only because iRacing on the new Daytona has actually only 40 pit stalls, where I believe the old one has 43. Don't go above that line. Oh, contact. Jatina and Gillenwater got together, and now you got to be careful of, is that the 6 that's behind him, I think? Oh, no, that's the 44, Glenn Campbell. You got to worry if he did get a part of that tire up there on that yellow line, and some tracks are very aggressive compared to others when it comes to that blue line. So we'll see if Campbell is going to get penalized. But here comes a roaring pack still of cars that have not pitted.
Coming around them. It's amazing how many races you see Jose able to stretch the fuel mileage. And again, here he is doing it.
Yeah, but now you got to be careful because you got cars getting up to speed, and you got to communicate with them. See Mike Kelly. Oh, look at that!
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about, and I'm sure
Casey
Casey.
had absolutely no choice.
Knowing Casey Duncan right there, he's probably like, dude, not cool.
Nelson Rivera going to pick up the lead here. Wow, that was tenuous.
See, I understand that move. With less than 50 laps to go, at the same time, it's like, okay, could he have maybe blipped the throttle a little bit through 3 and 4 and let Casey get ahead and get behind him and make that move to make it safer? But, I mean, you can't play Monday morning quarterback.
All's well that ends well. He's able to get his pit stop done, and now he's out and going away. The problem for Jose, nobody to dance with. Hopefully when he blends back out, he's going to be able to pick somebody up.
So if I'm seeing everything correctly as Rivera comes to pit road, this is going to be the lead pack, it looks like, and it's going to be Kevin DeBrown. Well, nope, I stand correct. There's a couple cars that just came out right in front of him. 8 of Yoakum. I'm going to make sure these aren't lap cars that he's maybe going around here.
So Nelson crossed the line, going to pit road and maintain the lead on that lap. So we'll see how things come around here.
All right, some more cars darting off. All right, so it looks like Kevin DeBrown is going to take the lead of this race. Pedro Mojica will be second. Chad Coleman should move up to third. There's Rivera coming out of pit road right now. So we'll get everything cycled around here on timing and scoring. But, man, appreciate all the viewers watching again. I know, as I mentioned, Aaron Thomas, see Casey Carrington watching, Brian Ellis, Cody DeForge, see Steve Ritter checking in, saying Chad's a beast. Matthew Cloquet. Not Croquet. Cloquet. Let's see, I see
Rivera there pitting by himself. He's coming through turn 3 as the field streaks off of turn 4. He'll be able to pick up a couple of these cars coming by, including the 26, so we know how that worked out for him. I think it's going to all be okay, though. Daniel, this is the time of the race where everybody starts to get antsy, and we're going to find a caution somewhere along the way here.
Yeah, for sure, and this is all part of the race. After the green flag pit stop, seems like the field's got really spread out here. Like you see all my fellas up front there, Kevin, Pedro, Chad, David, and everyone else. They're looking like in a pretty good spot here if this thing stays under the green flag, but we still got about 45 coming to 44 laps to go. So anything can happen, but very interested to see how these final pit stops are going to be, because we might see some 2 tires, we might see some gas only. Still a lot to happen in this race. We only got like 44 to go.
So going to be very interesting to keep an eye out on the packs here, because, yeah, it literally looks like it's team name versus Sim500 Mafia and Associates. And, of course, you got team name and Associates, if you will, because you got other drivers a part of different teams there, too. But, obviously, you look at the lead pack, you got Mojica pushing DeBrown, you got Coleman, Comstock, those guys. And then back here, Montesi pushing Tyler Dalton, and then Joey Jatina is mentioned, and his new sponsorship. Want to welcome those guys, a part of the family here at Sim500.
Yeah, for sure. I will say something that tripped me out a little bit was looking at that number 30 car. It's not yellow and black this year. It's all covered in blue, which kind of threw me off for a loop a little bit. But that car looks nice. I will give him that.
Speaking of blue, there's that New York Giants looking paint scheme. It's a podcast I've learned through the like 50 viewers that have come over here and talking about the podcast that has slipped my head here. Let me go through chat real quick. Talking Giants versus the World is a podcast, apparently. It's an interesting one, I've been told. I don't know how else to explain it. It's not football at all. You know it's New York Giant colors.
Ah, I didn't know.
It's kind of got its dark side, I guess, so to say, if you will, from what I hear.
John Higman, your pole sitter, looking like he's in jeopardy of going a lap down. We've got quite a few cars, probably about 6 or 7 of them now a lap down. They're hoping for a caution and a wave around. Jose Medina, running in 34th, was able to tap onto the back end of that group, but that just split up as the leaders make their way around. You got 6 cars in this lead draft that were able to break away with Cal and Tony, who you were just talking about from the Dirty Monkey Motorsports team, hanging on that back draft. And Eve, you're going to start seeing that second group get organized, and they should be able to run them down in time.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on the packs here and how they're running. Justin, just the reason why I was laughing while you were talking, the world is having a bad day when they 84 cars on the track. That talks about the podcast a little bit there.
Got it.
But anywho, 6.5 seconds looks like from DeBrown back to Gonzalez. Of course, from Calantoni with the half second there, it's actually about 5.9. And we got 32 cars on the lead lap.
I was just watching a 3 wide over there. Sorry. You know, there's no, you can't help but look anywhere and see just some crazy stuff going on all over the place.
Hey, there's always the code word. Just yell trouble and I'll shut up.
Yeah, this has gotten very interesting. And now you have a mix of all these lead lap cars with some of the lap down cars all trying to fight their way back up there to be a part of this. Who knows? Maybe we're going to run this thing green to the finish. That would be just an amazing thing for these guys. But one down on the apron over there.
Kevin, that's 2 questionable things you've said in the last 5 minutes, and there they go into the wall. Doy Woods.
Doy Woods.
Oh, I know. No.
We're still green, though.
They have held the flag. Tower says track's clear.
Yeah, everybody's off the track. Oh, Kevin, you about got some hate mail.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, Doy Woods just kind of crawling along over there. They're going through the grass. Now he's sideways. Just trying to get himself back to pit road.
Let's see what
Well,
happened.
that's a fortunate break for the Haviland Ford.
Davey Allison throwback there. Yeah, it all started. You saw that car go to the apron in the tri-oval. And you wonder if...
7 maybe?
Yeah, there was a little checkup right there. Oh, and Gillenwater checks up, and Doy gets into him, and it was the 6 of Montesi. Oh, and then Kevin Stone runs over Doy and sends them both packing.
How about that move by Joey Jattina to avoid that?
That almost got ugly.
Yeah, the 28 coming through turn 4 now as the field streaks by. He's down on the apron. He's safely going to get to pit road and go in and get some service, but his chance of winning the Daytona 500K has come to an end.
Quickly, something I want to point out, this first pack right here, they are pulling a gap on that freaking pack. They are all working together very well. I mean, like I said, most of them are all in teammates, like the front 4 are, and they all know what they're doing, like how to take the pushes on the straightaway, like how to manage their temps, be able, because there's a certain way where you gain so much time where you're pushing on the straightaway, and then keeping the cars in your air bubble as you try to cool off and you try to time the push on the exit of the corners, where you get a nice big old slingshot down the straightaways. You can run some really fast lap times. And it seems like they're starting to figure it out well, and they are pulling the second pack.
Let me ask this question, Daniel. Is there too many cars in the second pack?
I don't think so. Like, with all the many cars that they're in this pack, I feel like they could run them down, but, like, look, they're all discombobulated. They're not, like, all running together. Like, look, you got people trying to pass them now. Like they're just, like, really working together. They're just all racing for themselves. Seem like they've given up and just banking on a yellow at this point.
I just look at, I look at, the, as you mentioned, there's like, what, 6 cars up in that front pack, and then here in the second pack, you've got, what, 10, 15 cars, and it's hard to put it, let's maybe use the analogy of teaching kids in school. A lot of parents like to have their kids be in a class that only has like 10 students, because one teacher teaching 10 students is a lot easier than teaching 25 kids in a class. Kind of the same scenario here. It's 15 cars is hard to keep in a straight line.
Well, yeah, that was about me through my entirety of grade school. I really never had a class over 25 people. Like, I had that kind of life. I never went to any big schools like that. So, but as we're seeing, they're all just racing now. What I just noticed here is Mr. Josh Parker back here is actually in this pack. I figured he'd be with the lead group. I don't know if something happened on his pit stop, but yeah, he's back here hanging out with this second group, and I guess they're all just gonna have a little fun and then just maybe bank on a yellow and just hope they get caught and get back in this thing.
I don't want to use the word ego here, but I use it in the sense of, this is one of those where I could see Josh and Donnie Leah and Justin Mon saying, all right, we could probably lead this group faster than Jose and Mike and Robert. So they're trying to get up there.
I wouldn't be surprised that's probably what they're trying to do. Like, because Josh and Donnie, they are working together. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, look, they seem to be pretty connected very well. So, I mean, like, the more they keep racing like this, the more time they're going to lose. Because, look, as you see, the lead pack is almost 9 seconds ahead now. So, pretty much, I'd say at this rate, with about 30 to go, and we got one more pit stop, how well that first group is doing on pit road working together, they're only just going to extend that gap even more, I feel like. So, I think it's now just keep riding.
Yeah, my sense is that they had some cars that were not as fast in that group, and really what they're trying to do is have the cream come to the top, and they're still trying to work through that. They still have time if they get organized and get back down in to run that group down, but laps are ticking off. This is amazing. 87 of 120, and you know, we've had 9 different leaders, with Kevin DeBrown picking up the lead here at lap 75. And you're right, Daniel, these top 5, they are executing flawlessly here in this draft.
And we've only had the one racing caution so far. Tried to have a second one there a minute ago, but in pit strategy, I think it's going to come into play. We do got to make one more pit stop here again, which, by the way, the third voice you're hearing, of course, you got Kevin England, myself, the captain, is the driver of the Joe Gibbs Racing Coca-Cola iRacing Esports Series car, and that being Daniel Falkingham, actually the champion here in 2022 of this North Carolina 811 Cup Series, is joined us in the booth here as you're watching Brian Macklin here on board. So I assume that these guys are splitting this in half.
That's probably what. Well, I don't know. If I try to recall, like last time they pit, I would imagine they're going to just try to run out this fuel that they got right now, and then just take the amount of fuel they need. There's not really no reason to split this thing in half. I'd say just run, or maybe another thing they could do, like, let's see, we're inside 35 to go. If they pit now, they know they're good to the end. Just take about what you need and go. They know they're good to the end unless we go into deep overtime. So maybe they could pit now, or unless they could just stretch this out, run as long as they can, try to keep building that gap to the guys behind. But not just take the amount of fuel they need.
I feel like the second pack, Kevin, has to run this out no matter what, because the risk of them short pitting this and a yellow coming out puts all of these guys a lap down, where the guys up front, they can pit and know that they're likely staying on the lead lap. So I think their bet is automatically made, as you see Coleman kind of sliding up the track here.
Yeah, tactically they hold the cards right now. Now, if somebody in that second group ducks off and can maintain on the lead lap, then they could stay out if the yellow comes out and get the track position. The lead group out front, they have the track position if the yellow comes out, they're first to pit, and they stay out, have the shortest time on pit road if they run the entire fuel run. So I think from a statistics standpoint, they're better off just staying out here and see what they can get.
Yeah, that second back has gone single file again, and one thing I have noticed, Daniel, that time is starting to kind of neutral out a little bit.
Dude, we're maintaining about 9.5, 10 seconds probably right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I said, I feel like this second group, they've made their bet now.
Yeah.
They're just gonna try to just bank on a yellow, or maybe who knows what could happen. You never know. We still got a lot of race. We still got a lot of race left. We got 30 to go. We're getting down to the final quarter of this race. Who knows? The fifth pack could screw up on pit road, and then they could be right back in this thing. Like if they get, like if some people overshoot their box, if they get spread out and no one's drafting with each other, then boom, the second pack could be right back in it.
Oh, Justin.
Speaking about the yellow, we almost had one right there, but yeah, I mean that's probably what's got to take at this point.
Boy, Justin had his hands and feet on the wheel, I think, for that save. Man, what a save that was. But, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. And appreciate KPTV 75, or what was that, Painter's Motor Supplies watching now. Oh, Tyler just got turned almost by Parker. He saved it.
Wow.
Oh, there goes Mons heading for the infield almost.
These people are trying to get a caution, but not working too well right now.
They're wrecking. They just ain't spun. Oh my!
Do a good job, these guys. How this track is, the tires are getting to their worst point of the run. Handling's really starting to matter. Anytime these guys could wreck it and spin out, but they're all doing a good job hanging on to it right now.
Hey, remember when these cars didn't have tires at war?
That was certainly a time.
You think they miss those now?
Well, I mean, I'm a guy that loves when handling matters. I mean, I do like my super speedway racing. Especially when handling matters and stuff like this. Like, that's why I love running the speedways, like 1987 cars. But when you get to racing like this, then it makes me a fun time. Now, something I kind of want to point out here. Mr. Brian Macklin here running here in P5, trying to go for a 3-peat here.
Yeah.
He's all by himself. He don't really got a lot of help around him because he's got 4 team name cars he's got to worry about. So, unless he can start working, like making a deal with, like, Catalone, the Calantoni, Gonzalez, and those guys, he might be in a tough spot to try to go for a 3-peat.
Something I think happened to Kevin Stone because he was down in the infield just now and you saw him come back up there near the road course. So I'm not sure if the 17 has a broken wheel or something. But tough break as Kevin was having a halfway decent run.
There's a race within a race here too. These cars tagged on this back end they're competing for the lucky dog here. You see the 6 of Montesi got on the back of that. Right now, these guys between Montesi, Medina, Jeff Ryan, they're all right there with those leaders. And if this runs to green to the end, they could be the spoilers in the mix here. As you see, Doug Roth tucked in behind that number 6, and Montesi's begging him to bring him through. So if the yellow comes out, he could be the lucky dog.
Now, for those keeping track, if you look to the left, you'll notice that that second pack has lost about a second and a half from the last time we updated. So they're about 11, almost 11 and a half seconds back now. So Pedro's done a great job of pushing this pack of 7 cars. And you see Doug Roth back there pushing that 6, trying to get him up there a little bit. And it doesn't seem to be playing any kind of havoc on those cars. But as mentioned, now we're almost getting a 2A and 2B pack.
What a phenomenal job Pedro has done pushing. He's been second all race long. We saw him pushing Coleman. We saw him pushing Tyler Dalton in the beginning. I mean, he's just run second and pushed whoever's out front. And he's got the right pattern to keep whoever it is out front. It's been a spectacular race for him.
I more want to send a shout out to Kevin Brown. If you happen to watch the Fontana race last night, he was, I don't want to say both caution. Did he get loose or we got pit stops? We got pit stops. Oh no, and a wrecking. Chad Coleman gets clobbered. Mohican goes around.
Dude, that's everybody.
The 24 got loose Medina, and he takes out pretty much all of team name.
What did I say? This first group, when they pit, they can screw up, and this could bring the second pack right into play.
And that definitely has done it. That was a wild card move.
Like, all they had to do was have a smooth pit stop, have a nice normal stop, bring it out, and just bring the thing home. And now, the second pack is looking mighty tasty right now.
Well, let me ask this question. Did they have a big enough lead to where a mistake like that can happen? And if, as long as they don't have much damage, they can kind of get with them.
Like, No, not a chance. Like, here's what happened. Like that.
Oh,
was
and
a
now
bubble
Jared
back
Livingston
there.
going around.
Here's what happened. Like, look at this. They're all separated now, and they
Right.
literally just lost all that time coming to pit road. And look at these guys.
Yeah.
Like, they're all full out of steam. You got Parker and Justin Mons leading this field, who they seem to be working together really well. And all those guys that just came out of the pits, they're all gonna be split up, and they're not gonna be together. Well, so. Like, these guys have a chance to get lapped here. Like, I don't know if we can get a replay on this, Chris, because I kind of want to see what happened.
Yeah,
myself.
I'm actually
Hey,
trying to
I'm
find it
gonna
right
tell
now.
you.
I'm more laughing. I'm more laughing right now because people are like RIP headphones over in chat right now. One of us
Hey.
blew headphones.
You have to know how this developed. The 43 got loose up off the corner.
Yeah,
The
we're gonna.
24 checked up. The 3 got in the
know,
back of them.
Maybe these guys weren't trying
3
to pit.
turned the 24 down into pit road. The 24 wasn't going to pit road. When these guys all look at this,
Oh no.
that was just an amazing turn of
They
events
were,
to find out team name.
they were all coming to pit road, and it just seemed like, I don't know.
Here is the 43
Oh,
got
24 gets turned up there at the top of
and
the screen.
24 got turned.
Who was that? Who's that white and blue car? I don't think knew he was pitting.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
He wasn't pitting.
He wasn't
was checked
pitting.
up for 43.
He got
But
bull.
he went down there and cleaned him out. It looked like
He got
side
bowling.
ball in the corner pocket.
Pretty much. He got bowling balled into this
Like,
thing.
Not everyone.
Dude,
Oh, God.
Like, if you're a team name, you are losing it right now. Because, like, you had everything was coming in nice and smooth, and then the 24 is I'm looking at, he's braking in the middle of the racetrack. And like a lot of us like to say, you can't pit from the top lane.
I don't think he was trying to pit. I think he got tagged in the back there.
You know what? You're right.
I'm actually looking at it myself. He is going 176
You know
miles
what?
an hour.
He is,
and he's going down to 164 by the time Jeff Ryan hits him.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
he's
right.
trying to pit, but he wasn't even going to make pit road anyway from where he was. Like, I don't even know what he's doing.
Here's
don't
what I
think
see. You're both right, actually, a little bit here, Kevin. What you saw was him getting loose above Doug, and then he stays in the throttle, and then he all of a sudden just parks the bus on the track and gets turned by Jeff Ryan into the pins, if you will.
Wait, we have to come back to what 81 is leading the race? How did that happen? The 81 is leading the race with Justin Mons is running second.
Yeah.
After that.
Now it's going to be
Incredible change.
it's going to be interesting. Guys make their pit stops where they're going to cycle out, because all those guys are going to be all spread out, and a lot of them probably got some totaling damage from that as well. Like, these cars might not be handling well. I mean, they're probably not handling well with all the damage they probably got, but I'm very intrigued to see what they have to say after this. But I'm going to try to keep track of lap times here, but if I'm the 38, if I'm all those guys kind of got jumbled right there, I'd definitely be worried.
A Falkinghamnism, jumbled.
Kajumbled.
We're gonna write that one down. As Parker comes up on some lap cars here now, just to kind of refresh everybody here as Mons gets down there close on that car. The front pack still, you're looking at the front 14 cars, which is only about 7 or 8 of them here in this pack, have not pitted yet. They have not made that last pit stop, so they're doing what Daniel talked about. They're going to run the tank out and in short fill to go to the finish of this race. As we look at those cars that are in this pack, how about some of these names? Robert Freary is in this pack. Bob Gillenwater. How? I don't even know what word to use. Big of a moment would that be if that 21 was in victory lane here at Daytona? Casey Duncan making a return to the series. I know he ran a couple races last season late, but he is in this pack. Nelson Rivera. Those 9 cars are all in this lead pack with as we come up to less than 20 to go in this race.
You know, I just keep reviewing that over, and you know the 81 or the 30. Sorry.
Uh-oh. I don't mean to interrupt you here, Kevin, but Kevin DeBrown has lost connection to the server.
Oh no.
So Kevin DeBrown's night has gone from bad to worse.
Well, and the bad part is, of course, we were talking about Kevin when all that broke loose. I was bringing up Fontana last night, where Kevin, unfortunately, was both cautions in that race.
I actually did hear about that. He was talking about the race from last night, and I heard he was both yellows. I got to see a little bit of that race, and yeah, it's not been a good weekend so far for that number 9 Dream Machine.
Kevin, it'll be okay, buddy. If you're watching, it'll be okay, buddy. But he'll be obviously ticked off, which is fully understandable here. All right, so 18 laps to go, single file lane. That 81 car leading. Mons there in second. Dalton, a chance to go to victory lane in this race in a 19 car. And then you've got, after this pack, you've got a pack of 3. Jimmy Coleman, Joey Jatina, and Ron Holyfield. Those guys are going to need some help, it looks like. And looks like Kevin Stone having some more issues trying to get back. I think he's got a broken car or something. But then you got about 10 seconds back to Scott Simley, Wesley Donaldson, and then another 10 seconds back to Brian Macklin, and that's the pack of cars that had the issues. Is 27 seconds a short enough distance, Dan? I mean, delta-wise here, short filling your car, it's going to be...
Yeah.
That's going to be close. I think Macklin might actually be in good shape here where he is.
Yeah, like now, that just split up all the team name cars. Macklin's in a great shot because David is all by himself now. He doesn't got the help of his teammates. And I'm trying to track these lap times. David Comstock at a 46.88. Josh Parker, his last lap was a 47.55. Yeah. So those guys, even after that little incident that they had, they've kind of recollected themselves and started making some good lap time. But I'm wondering is, what are the 81, the 49, what are these guys going to do when they come to pit? Fuel only? They going to take any tires? That is to be seen. But,
I think you have to take tires. At least 2.
I feel like you got to at least take left sides, because what I've been noticing is the left sides have worn out a little bit more, I feel like, in my opinion. And I feel like, especially going through that apron, it's going to be really, really free when you're on that apron trying to leave the road as fast as you can. So.
And that's the other part. And getting out of your pit stall with these tires, you got to have at least 2 to have some traction getting out. If you try to go no tires out of a pit stall, I mean, that's like driving on ice.
Yeah, for sure. But, like, this race is definitely flipped on its head now. We thought, like, those guys left the front leading. I thought they were in the prime position. But now, this race could just entirely flip on its head depending on how this final pit cycle goes for these leaders.
This race has gone all...
49 and others.
The race has gone all Sam Mayer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I could say that. He's okay.
Post race is going to be rather interesting to review this, but you look at.
I definitely can't wait to talk with all the Chad Colemans and all them people about what they did, because Chad was probably got the worst of it, because he was the first one that got hit out of all this.
So Daniel, you were always the guy too last season that I always made the joke. Mons, be careful with that left rear. You were always the guy that would be down there in the chat with Chad Coleman. You guys would kind of create the comedy hour, if you will, of reviewing things in this race. I don't know if there's going to be so much comedy tonight.
Definitely not. It's there's only going to be a few happy people. Probably going to be the race winner, and everyone comes in the top 3 probably. But
and the viewers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, us viewers and us. It kind of makes me glad I'm up in the booth here tonight. But definitely. Now I'm no.
Oh no, Parker! Don't get on the left rear. I've been saying it. What a save though, and he's gonna hold on. Did he lift?
Hopefully, we can get onto that draft going through there. He'll be able to.
Well, that's how we're gonna slow down this line now. So they gotta get recollected here.
You got a couple key players in here. You got Dalton, who's great. You got Beasley, who is spectacular at super speedways. Going back to look at the 30 car, when that crash occurred on the entry to pit road, he didn't get a part of that. Comstock got turned kind of sideways, but they made good time, even though the calamity happened to the rest of the team. Parker collected himself, and he put himself back in the chance of having a shot to win this. That could have been catastrophic.
Let's see. I'm watching Mons again here. I mean, he's all pushy. Right there, he gets on the left rear and makes contact.
Yep. I mean, just a little contact like that is all it takes.
I mean,
you
what
talk
a save.
about Kelly, he's the sleeper in that mix right there in position. He just won at this track the other night, and here he is running in the top 5 with laps running out.
All right, now here's something I want to keep an eye on here. So we got the leader of Justin Mons.
Yep.
There are 4 lap cars in front of him. If they are able to time this where they can sniff a draft all those lap cars, they could gain, because the draft in these cars means so much, especially at Daytona and Talladega. If they can catch a sniff of the draft of those lap cars and time it, where they're going through 3 and 4, then they need a pit. because they're gonna be held up with these lap cars, and if they try to get around them, the side draft is gonna slow them down way too much. So I feel like they gotta time this where they can catch those lap cars, pick up their draft, and have them tow them along to give them a really fast lap time so they can come in and pit.
I agree 100%, and I think that's going to be in about a lap or so. They should get to him, as we do have Wesley Donaldson, Simley, Leah, and Benfield on pit road here. Should be in, I would say, the next lap or two. They're going to get to that pack here. And yeah, I mean, it's all, well, yeah, it's all about timing here. Because you get, what is it about? It's in this car, it's different. In most of the super speedway cars, like the trucks, the Grand National cars and stuff, it's about 1.5. In these next-gen cars, it's what, about 7-8 tenths of a second that you have to be within to start getting that draft?
Yeah, I'd say right around like 1.5, 2 seconds. 2 seconds, I'd say you're getting a sniff of it, but around 1.5 is when you are for sure in it, I feel like.
There you see Mons.
It's kind of really hard to judge it.
And these guys pitted at lap 70. We're completing lap 110. We're right at 40 right now. So these guys are probably going to have to pit here next lap. Here they come right now. Don't mess it up.
Looks pretty good.
So far.
You got Casey Duncan in here.
Oh, hold on, Frary. Oh, and Parker about wrecked it.
Wow.
Oh, and Ron Holyfield just took out a couple pit crews. Fuel only for the 15. And Ron's having all kinds of issues. All right, and here comes Mike Kelly now to the lead of this race. Mike is going to have to pit still, and here is, I think, the battle for the win right here.
Tyler Dolan just left pit road. He came out ahead of Justin Mons there, and he seems to be going to be, oh, watch that. Just be careful of that yellow line. You don't want to get a black flag for crossing over too early.
Of course, they're talking about right here. One car's in the grass. Mons is in the grass.
Oh, so that's the end of his race, and I think that's the lead pack, isn't it? No, it is not.
No, the lead pack is actually Brian Macklin. It's a three-car pack with two of them on the lead lap, and now Mons is wrecked over in the infield.
This has not been a good about 30 seconds for Justin Mons here. Not going to bring out a caution. He was off the racetrack.
9 laps to go, and look at what we got.
Mike Kelly is just leaving the pits, but he was already way off, so. Oh, and Comstock, I just thought it was not even on the lead lap. I thought he was on the lead lap this whole time.
No, you got three-peat trying to get
It's three.
Brian Macklin, when it looked like he was teaming up against about 4 team name cars, is sitting pretty right now. And I think we might be winning for the repeat, guys.
Here's the problem, and you know what? I see somebody making a comment about admins throwing the yellow. Here's why you cannot throw a yellow in that situation for the admins. You are opening up Pandora's box. Basically, when you are in a league where the admins throw the yellow, you're looking at a situation where now by throwing the yellow at that point, down the road in another race, if a wreck like something like that happens and no yellow's thrown, then it becomes, oh, now you're playing favorites with this or that. It opens a whole big box. Best thing to do is leave yellows on for iRacing to make the call. So that's one reason where I disagree a little bit, Jason, but I do appreciate you watching, and that's a hell of a name, by the way, Atomic Burrito. So here's an interesting plot twist, if you will, here. We've got the Talking Giants versus arguably the Giant on this track. Calantoni versus Macklin.
And it's really a 2-car shootout at this point.
This is all it is. Cat Coleman, he's 13 seconds back. Like, this is it. We stay green here for the next 17 laps. This kind of gives me like 2004 Daytona 500 vibes here. Two cars battle for the win with a lap car involved.
That lap car was.
He needs is someone to be behind him. He needs Eric Arnold or somebody else to tuck up close to him to give him a push to get around that 30 car. It's hard.
Yeah.
A third car in a 3-car breakaway without someone back bumper to drive around.
And here's the thing too, with the tandem draft with these cars is very powerful.
Charles Wood's off track. Sorry, Charles is.
He's off track.
I'm trying to. Is this a? He's either had lost control of the car or he's having a black screen issue. One of the two. Well, now he's going. Well,
If he comes back up to the racing surface, this could be a yellow. Well,
I think he's okay. I think he's okay now.
Yeah.
Now, if he gets too close to the yellow line, it could bring the yellow out. Yeah, he's up to speed now. He should be okay. All right, so now we look at this pack. It's gotten a little more, a couple more cars in it, if you will. So now Calantoni might actually have some help here, as he's got the 31 of Eric Arnold. Yeah, he's not aggressive. You've got...
very interesting to see here, but what I was about to say here was Calantoni, I think he's got a little bit of help now. Like, here's the problem. With tandem drafting in this car, it's very powerful. Like, pretty much how Macklin can just secure this win is if he just pushes David for, like, the entire last half lap, because Calantoni's got no one. But now he's got a few cars behind him. Calantoni's got to figure out how to work with these cars behind him if he's going to make any move, because I think right now, I don't think Macklin is in a position to lose this race, in my opinion.
Now, here's the question. If you're in that 84 car, do you trail brake back to Arnold and hope that Arnold pushes you?
I think that's going to be your only option. I mean, I know Arnold's ain't on the lead lap, and I don't really think that's pretty much what Calantoni's got to do. He's got to use his advantage to the cars behind him, because that's the only way he's going to develop a run.
What? I mean, I look at it from the standpoint of Macklin is using a lap car here to push. So why not Calantoni fall back to that lap car and let him push you?
Exactly. Like, that's pretty much what he's got to do, because pretty much Macklin is going to be stuck to David's bumper for the rest of this, for probably these next 14 laps unless we get a caution. Because right now, Macklin, like I said, is sitting pretty. All he can do is just shove David Comstock away from Calantoni on this last lap, and boom, the race is his. But, like I said, you never know. Handling can still come into play, because these guys are on really old tires as well, so let's not forget that. So, I mean, anything can happen. Like, we saw what happened there on that pit sequence for Team Name, but, like I said, a lot can happen left in this race.
I think if you're Calantoni in this position right now, 3 laps to go, I think here as you're going to see Macklin push down the back straightaway. I think Calantoni has to make the move in turn 3. And I say that because he needs to get to the right rear of Macklin and bring him back so that he cannot get the momentum to get to the 13 car. I think it's almost like a counter move. Like right here, Macklin's pushing him out. He's going to check up. So now the momentum's in Calantoni with the draft. Get to him here, pull out, and try to go to his right rear and bring him back.
The one advantage Calantoni has is that he does have the draft, and this car sucks up amazing. If he can get to that back bumper and just tap on it coming out of turn 4, he might be able to get him a little sideways, then it would be a drag race.
Arnold's got to stop jumping out of line, too.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's what we're going to be seeing for the next few laps. Maybe Calantoni's going to try to plan out like what he wants to do. He's not obviously not going to show his cards now. He's going to wait till that pivotal last lap. But I mean, who knows? He could make it early and maybe just try to fend him off himself. Like a lot of things can happen. I mean, it's just him versus Macklin. He's got no one else to worry about unless we get a yellow. So
well, they're going to be
just him.
North Carolina 811 call for you, dig. You got to know what is below. I'll tell you what, they've got an amazing barn burner opener here, and it's coming down to it. We want to thank them for the sponsorship, and look at these guys as they come across the stripe. 1 lap to go. How's this going to end? We have
final lap, Macklin versus Calantoni, 1v1 sorta, with a little help from some friends as they go through 1 and 2.
We have 2 to go, I think. I don't got the white flag yet.
It says final lap on my screen.
Oh, it says lap 119 on my screen. We just raced 120 laps. All right, that's my game.
Either way,
but here we go.
Yeah, Calantoni gonna make the move. Macklin goes to block. Oh
no! Wow, that's disappointing.
Macklin threw the block on Calantoni, who's gonna get turned. And the 3-peat is real. Started all the way in the back of the field, and Brian Macklin will score the win in the Daytona 500, a 3rd straight year in heartbreak for Calantoni, who's trying to get back and get a top 5, maybe a top 10 out of this.
Yeah, Calantoni, he's got a big gap. If he can just get it back to the start-finish line, like, he can still get a good finish out of this.
Don't look back, Anthony. He still finishes 4th. Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
and now they're wrecking behind him.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. My life said it was like lap
Oh.
119, but I didn't realize it was the last lap. My game is like, everything's bugging on me tonight, Chris. I don't know what's going on.
You can blame me again. I'm watching Calantoni here. He is coming after somebody, I think.
He's looking for somebody, I think. We got some Monday night beef here.
I think I've heard that before. Anyways. Monday Night Wars.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I want to believe that Eric Arnold, who was running 17th, was probably trying to get up there to help him when he tagged him. But how about that? 3 in a row. That's an astonishing stat for Brian Macklin.
You
Burning
think
it down in the grass, writing his name in front of the Daytona logo. And he's just got to be beside himself. He had thanked the team and told them they had the right strategy. And he noted that it was unfortunate for them, but he's going to bask in the glory here of the sunshine of Daytona.
I mean,
Very. Go ahead, Chris.
no, I was going to say that you, man, I'm replaying everything in my head here, and we'll show the replay of the finish here in a second. But I mean, in professional sports, a three-peat hardly ever happens. I mean, as I think through this in my head, I mean, baseball, there's no three-peats. And NFL, never. NBA, never. I mean, you got to go back to like the Boston Celtic days of the 70s or the Laker days or whatever of those days, or I guess Jimmy Johnson, if you will, to see something like this. So it's amazing to see what Macklin has done, Daniel.
I'll tell you what, he's done something that I haven't done. I mean, won on a super speedway in the Cup.
That's fair.
3 in a row in the season opener. That's something I wish I could do. But, I mean, give him credit where credit's due. Great way to kick off the season. Like it's incredible. 3 years in a row how he's been able to do this. But, it's something else. But I'm definitely interested to see what happened here. I need a closer look at this replay.
How am I, and me growing up a Chicago Bulls fan back in the 90s, thank you. How am I not reminded that Jordan did it twice? Hello. I'm mad at myself now for that, being a guy that watched Jordan growing up. Thank you, Mr. Pointers Motor Supplies. Let's look at this replay. As I'm going to let Daniel kind of look it over here. I don't know if you're looking at my screen or if you got your own screen here.
I've got the in-sim replay and I got this replay. So here's what I was talking about. Macklin was going to try to time this runoff to try to shove David Comstock all the way down the back straightaway to try to get that tandem away. But these cars are so ill handling at this point. Like, here he goes. You're going to try to go for the shove, but David's just all over the place. He can't, and here goes Calantoni. Here's a chance to pounce. He doesn't quite side drop, but he's got the outside position. Then Macklin, like, he's just not clear.
Wow.
And Calantoni definitely had his nose there, but I don't know if we can get another shot from viewing out the back of Calantoni's car here, like maybe like a far chase cam.
Okay.
I think it'll give us a better angle. But, yeah, like if we could switch this right here.
Yep.
So we like slow this down a little bit. So here's Macklin. He's just going to block, but like he's.
Back it up a little bit.
I mean, he's just. I mean, I'll say he definitely cleared himself, but like here's what I'm kind of confused about. Calantoni makes his move. He's got the position. Now we wait a little bit right here. I mean, it's kind of weird too, because Calantoni, his nose is there, obviously. And Macklin's trying to block, which, hey, that's what you got to do. But it seems like they make contact here, but, man, it just, like, shoots, like, Macklin right out of a can just shoots him out front, which I don't know if there was some sort of net code involved that just shot him out there, but I feel like in that spot right there, Macklin gets turned, but it's just he placed his car in a perfect position where he was able, I mean, tough luck for Calantoni. He definitely got the worst end of it. Probably not too happy because he felt like he had that. Like he made the right move, like you said, going into turn 3. He had it won, and then Macklin was like, nope, pulled off the perfect block, and just for Calantoni, I mean, he still brought it home 4th, but just Calantoni definitely gonna be thinking about this one after long into the night.
And I think one thing that sets this up, watch coming off turn 2 here, because I notice that the 13 gets loose off the front end of Macklin right about here. Yep. And that kills the momentum. And here comes Calantoni.
Yep, like I say, Macklin was trying to tandem with Comstock, try to get away from Calantoni, but it just didn't work out. and then he just I feel for him, man. Like I said, he did everything right in that position right there, and that's the way it goes
Let me
sometimes, unfortunately.
let
It
me
feels
ask.
like Eric Arnold had hit the 84 square. That
I
might
mean,
be a
yeah,
little
for
intent.
Eric Arnold.
I think Eric flinched and went left to try and not run over the 84. You could make some pretty big hits in these cars.
Let
I
me
would like to see what would happen if he'd have hit him square.
let me put this question out there. Let's all put ourselves in Macklin's shoes. Do you make that same move?
Absolutely.
I think you
Yeah,
have no
make that
choice
same
but
move.
to make
Oh,
that move.
you won a race.
I mean,
That's a good one.
so all
I mean,
right.
yeah, that's a move I'd pull like 10 times out of 10. I'd do it over again if I had to.
I mean, unfortunately, I think Macklin is going to take a little heat, but hey, it's the biggest race in this league. You're doing something that has never been done in this league's history, and as I'm reminded about, Jordan, basically a few NBA teams have done the three-peat, and Jimmy Johnson's done it with the Cup championship and that kind of thing. But I mean, it
But
this race had everything in it, and it only had one caution this whole entire
hey,
race.
One caution.
props to these guys. This was definitely a tough car to handle tonight with the hot track condition, just the way the handling was. But y'all get a prop. But I don't know if you've seen this interval. Macklin won by 16.4 seconds.
Over Chad Coleman, who barely edged out Gonzalez. So that was close at the line between those two, and how much these guys are going to be beating each other up, or not beating each other up, but how much they're going to be kicking themselves. Coleman looked like was in the perfect shape to win that race with Gonzalez and Calantoni finishing fourth, and then the first of that, the second pack that had to come to pit road with Parker, Kelly, Beasley, Tyler Dalton, Bob Gillenwater driving the 21 for Ed Burrell, finishes in the 9th position.
Starting shotgun on the field, man. Great run for Bob.
I'm about to look.
Good run for PC.
I believe that Ed finished 8th or 9th last season. So that would be fitting in that position right there for him. Casey Duncan, a top 10. Good run for him. I'll let you read off the top 10 or 11 through 20 there, Kev.
Jimmy Coleman comes home at 11th. Justin Mons covered for 12th. 13th for Glenn Campbell. Wesley Donaldson got himself a top 15. He finished 14th. 15th for Bentley Glazer. David Comstock was in the storyline the whole way after that accident. Finished on the lead lap right in front of your leader, 16th. One lap down for Eric Arnold, Joey Jattina, Scott Simley, Mike Montesi, 20th tonight. Pedro Mujica, what a run he had all night long. Nothing to show for it there with his finish of 21st. 22nd for Stoney Benfield. Joe Hudson, 23rd. All of these drivers one lap down. 24th for Robert Friery, the third. 60 of John Higman, your pole sitter, scores a 25th tonight to open the season. Right behind him, Jeff Ryan, Ron Hollifield, Mike Challa. It'll be Donnie Leah in 29th, Nelson Rivera 30th, and then rounding out your field, John Fowler, Brian Workman, Jerry Livingston, Doug Sigmund, Doug Raw, Charles Wood, Randy Yoakum, Jose Medina, Kevin DeBrown, 22 laps down after that incident, finishes 39th tonight. Kevin Stone, Doy Woods, and it'll be Tommy Ryan, scored with 42nd.
So yeah, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk to some people here tonight, and we'll see how many we can get. Daniel, you feel free to hang out if you want to hear what some of these people have to say, or if you want to go down there and talk to your boys.
I'm gonna do an interview if you want me to.
We can do that. Hey, why not? Guess it. I like it. Let's talk a little bit. Let's see. Brian Macklin's already up here with us. We're gonna save Brian here, so just hang back there, get a drink, buddy, if you need to, or whatever. Let's see. When we look down here, Jose Gonzalez finished 3rd in this race, so let's grab Speedy and bring him up here after his finish here in this race. I got him up here as Jose joins us, man. Jose, oh, he was up here. Did I get him in the wrong channel?
No, he's still down there where he was.
Yeah, I'll let you pull him up there. I'm having all types of issues here. Story of my life. Jose Gonzalez finishes in the 3rd position areas up here as he and Chad had a pretty close race to the front here. Jose, man, what a race. What an event. You started 27th on the field, worked your way up through only one caution tonight. What Talk about the race itself on your end, and what was the one thing missing to get you to the front?
Yeah, what's up, Chris?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I'm happy with the results. I mean, this race was kind of weird. I was just riding around. I don't even know how I got here. To tell you the truth, I just rode around and I went to pit road and I don't know. I didn't do anything special tonight. I didn't race much. At the beginning, I was trying to make some moves here and there, and then I thought, it's not worth it. There's not much to do. We just ride around and survive, and that's what I just did.
How much of a handful was that car to drive?
Yeah, I actually lost it once. If after 10, 20 laps, the car started getting loose, and if you went up the track a little bit and came back down, the car would snap loose on you. And after I did it once, I was very careful the rest of the race.
For watching the battle with you and Chad coming to the finish, that was a pretty close one when it was all over with.
Yeah, I asked Stoney, "You want to make a move?" And so he went with me. By that time I was just, I just want to finish. I didn't really mind, third or fourth or whatever. And he pushed me to the lead. Yeah, I mean, not the lead, but second place. And then he made a move on me, and then I'm like, what? That's fine. And then I saw when I finished, I didn't notice that Anthony was wrecked. So all of a sudden I see him. I'm very happy with the results.
Well, man, great job tonight. Congratulations on that top three. And, man, send some shouts whoever you like to. A good weekend for you, as I think about it now.
Yeah, this winter has been good to me. I've been having good finishes, so hopefully I can get this year to be a good one for me. And I just want to thank you guys for broadcasting these races. Captain Esports, and we're very glad to have you guys for this season. And thanks, Joey, for putting yet another year. And hopefully this year's going to be a good one.
That is Jose Gonzalez, who finishes in the third position. Jose, man, we appreciate your time, bud, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good one, Chris.
You too, buddy. All right, I think I know, Kevin, the perfect interview for Daniel.
Okay, go for it.
It's going to be our second place finisher, Chad Coleman, Mr. 100,000 laps, finishes in the second position. Daniel, have fun with your teammate here, buddy.
Oh, I am interested to see what he's got to say after this. Chad, well, before we get to the incident, let's just talk about how the night was. Seemed like y'all were set up pretty good there at the beginning, especially breaking away from the pack after the first pit stop. It seemed like y'all were working really good together down the team name camp.
Yeah, we were. The race was going exactly the way we had it planned out. Get out front, break away. It went exactly how we planned, and then stupid shit happened, and we all got wrecked on pit.
That's a good way to put it. That's what I was going to ask. What is your view what is your take on that incident coming to pit road?
It's better not to say. It just, yeah, can't have that happen. Not in a league like this.
That's fair.
Absolutely, we'll just leave it at that. But I will say, I mean, of course, you weren't up there for the win, but I'd say it's still satisfying coming home in second after all the chaos that happened. Even though it really didn't pan out well for the rest of your teammates, must still be pretty good to at least bring home runner-up. And you also did lead your 100,000th lap, or your 100,000th lap in the series, and you were able to lead that lap. So I'd say that's a good little refresher for the night.
Yeah, it was. It was the first part of the race was a lot of fun being up there working with Kevin and David, Pedro. I was trying to get Josh and Donnie to work up there with us, but all they kept hollering is, "They're going to crash! They're going to crash!" So they went to the back, and next thing we know, they're like, "Man, I can't believe we can't catch up." I was like, "Well, we're going to crash." And then, the crash, of course, happened on pit road. I mean, we did crash.
In fairness, I mean, everybody crashed. It seemed like throughout the race, you just didn't hit anything or anyone in spin.
Yeah, it was strange. That's all I was hearing. I was hearing people talking about, "Oh, they're wrecking off the turnback here, or they're wrecking somewhere else," and I'm like, her foot in it, I guess. There's no caution, but yeah, it was everything. Like I said, everything was going great. Like, I mean, you needed about 7 cars here to get a good breakaway. We had that. Macklin fell in with us right there, and after that, we were gone. Like, we're sitting there running 3/10 faster than the rest of the field. And it was all good, and then the pit stop.
Well, hate that all that happened, but at least you got a runner-up to open the season, so that's pretty good. Seemed like you had a lot of fun out there. Definitely the car was a lot to handle, but seemed like a lot of fun. So, yeah, anybody want to thank?
Yeah, thank you. And thank Chris and Kevin and Macklin for being a lucky bastard. And thank everybody at Team Name. We all worked really well together tonight for a change. I think the change was getting rid of Daniel. We got rid of Daniel, all of us are happy.
Which is how it goes.
And so, I mean, we'll go around and probably chase Pedro most of this season. So it'll be like old times, just chasing a different number.
Hey, Chad, in fairness, Daniel had the same issues he normally would have as a super speedway race up here with us tonight, too.
Was he freaking?
No, his microphone and stuff was just going nuts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, out of the race car, I'm still having the same issues. Anyway, well, thanks, Chad. Good runner-up finish, and we'll wish you best of luck next week.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good luck to you on Tuesdays, too. We're watching.
I appreciate it. All right, Chris, if you want to... I think we got a winner's interview to get to.
Yeah, we got a winner's interview. I'll talk to Macklin. I'm gonna leave. No offense, Kev. You get Cal and Tony. If he's around, we'll get you with somebody. Put it like that. But let's get the winner up here as Brian Macklin, Mr. Three-Peat, goes to victory lane as a different way of doing it. But the obvious question here, I believe he's still here with us. But the obvious question I have to ask you, Brian. Talk about the last lap.
Well, oh god, the last lap was intense. I mean, obviously you knew it was going to be just myself and Anthony racing for the win. I was trying to push David, keep us separated as much as possible, but he had help with the lap cars behind him, and I'm pretty sure they were either teammates or just really good friends of his, so I knew they were going to try to work with him some. So my goal was just to try to stay glued to David's bumper and try to use him as much as possible to be able to stay up front. And you know, the backstretch thing happened, and I threw a little bit of a late block. I didn't expect him to get the run as quickly as he did, and then unfortunately he got turned by one of those guys behind him. So just a wild race. I hate that the accident coming to pit road happened. I mean, I don't know that this race ends the way that it did if that doesn't happen. I don't think myself and Anthony could have outran and outpaced those guys and figured out a way to get around them when they're all working together, but it would have been a lot of fun to try to figure out how to.
Yeah, it was definitely a big moment in the race. So, you know, I brought this up in the stream, and I kind of actually made mistakes when I was thinking about it and what I said about it. But a three-peat, okay? Mostly the things you think about when it comes to a three-peat is NBA stuff. Or, obviously, Jimmy Johnson's 5 championships in a row. So a three-peat's very rare. And nobody's ever done it in Daytona 500 history, and now you've done it. Though, yes, in iRacing, in a sim, you've just won this race 3 years in a row in what could be arguably one of the biggest series in iRacing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even explain it. I mean, obviously I try to come out here and win every race that I can, and I feel like I'm one of the better speedway racers. I feel like I tend to put myself in a position to win on a pretty normal basis, and I've had several of these races taken away from me. I had a race at Talladega last year in this series taken away kind of in the same fashion that what happened with Chad and them tonight. It's all about just being in the right place, right time. You know, you also do have to know what you're doing to some extent. I mean, I feel like I lucked into this one, but you know, Denny Hamlin said it best as winning 3 Daytona 500s himself. He said, you know, you might luck into 1, you're not going to luck into 2 or 3. So I feel like while I might have gotten lucky tonight, there's a little bit more behind the scenes that got me here.
Well, you definitely did it, man. You put yourself as best you could in the right position. You ran in that pack, and again, that accident happened. You found your way through it. And, man, they can't, as I always like to say, they can't take this one from you. It's 3 straight Daytona 500 kilometer championships here for Sim500 for you, Brian. And congratulations. Send some shout outs, whatever your time. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man, I got to start off by thanking Scott Stenzel and Personal Comfort for coming on board and being the title sponsor on my car this year. If you want a really good bed or pillows or anything like that, go to Personal Comfort's website. They got some really good deals, and it's all top quality stuff. So, just check them out. Got to thank you guys for doing the broadcast, all the admins here at Sim500 for making this happen, NC811 for being the title sponsor of the Cup Series for the second year in a row. And obviously I still run Lung Force on the car. That's a nod to my late grandmother. So got to thank them for being a part of my life for the last several years. It's really cool to get to give them a good run and get to continue to put them in victory lane, even if they're not on the hood.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations. He's a Twitter follower, by the way. You can go follow him on Twitter. He's a good one. What's the Twitter handle?
It's at BV Macattack.
There you go. Go follow him on Twitter, or as I like to call it, Tweeter. And go from there, man. Congratulations. Enjoy this win, and we'll talk next week.
Yeah, hopefully this is the first of many this year.
There you go, buddy. Personal Comfort Toyota Camry. Brian Macklin, the 6th running of the Daytona 500 champion. Of course, 3 in a row for this man. So congratulations to him on that. And as we do a little bit of a extended pre-race show, let's see who's hanging out. It looks like the whole entire league is down in team name right now. And there is one particular name I see down there that, Kevin, I'm going to hand him to you. Let's hope for the best on this one. I'm bringing Anthony Calantoni up here, and Kevin will let you talk to him.
Yeah, Anthony, how you doing? You okay? Had a chance to absorb this?
Yeah, just disappointed, guys.
Understood.
Yeah, I can imagine. When it comes to how this played out, you made the right move, Anthony. And I want to say, if you go back and look at what Eric did, I wasn't sure whether he was trying to avoid you, but it did look like he was coming to help you. And what an incredible run! You put yourself in the position to go down the backstretch. And how many times does Daytona lead to heartbreak? And unfortunately, it happened to you tonight, but, well, you at least salvage a top 5 run for the season open.
Yeah, Kevin. I mean, the last 2 weeks that I ran Daytona were all heartbreaks. Coming to, running top 5, top 3 at the end of these things and just get taken out. I went back and looked at it. I mean, I'll say my comment. I really don't care. But he never lifted. He had a straight sing on the straight song on the engine, but I think he could have rolled out of it as soon as he started Macklin throw the block. I have no problem with the block. I would have done the same thing, but yeah, it is what it is. It's racing. It's Daytona.
Yeah, I want to believe he was trying to get up there to help you, push you to the finish, but
Kevin, I wasn't even going to make my move then. I was going to try and wait turn 4,
yeah.
and I saw him coming down with Scott, and I'm like, okay, I'll make this going into 3, and he gave me the kind of that air bubble push, and Macklin came up and blocked it, which obviously, like I said, it was a good block, and then I was there, and our fenders touched, and it was not enough time, I guess, to react. I don't know.
We had talked about leading up to that, and I can't imagine as you replay the race if you could think you could do anything better. But you were in the odd man out position, right? Those top 2 were nose to tail, even though Comstock was a lockdown, and it was going to be just an impossible job for you to try and bring him down. The fact that you got to him and made an incredible move on the backstretch, we really thought you were going to be able to make your way around there.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate you guys calling it though, like that.
Well, Anthony, again, Jersey guy to Jersey guy, I'm proud of you. I thought you had a good run. I watched you through the race, just trying to keep your nose clean. That incident on lap 94, what do you make of that? You had to see some of what happened there.
Was that when they all got cleaned out going into pit road? I didn't even see him.
Team name bowling.
I didn't even see it coming until I saw the smoke come across my windshield, and then I think I saw Chad or Pedro come flying across like sideways me. And I was like, wow, I'm lucky I'm on the bottom here.
Yeah, you were right in that mix, and you were able to drive through. Look how it paid off for you. So there's a certain amount of shamrock for you for that one.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, tell us who gets the job done for you here in the season opener, and what do you think of this Sim 500 league? Is you're going to try and run down a championship in 2023?
We're definitely going to try, and I don't know if I'm going to make all the races because of just some scheduling that I have throughout the year. But the people who push me to do this is obviously the Talking Giants group and the John Boy media. Without their support and the fan base support, I'm pretty sure they were in the chat today with the live stream. But without their support, I probably wouldn't be able to do this, and probably wouldn't have had this good of a run because they're pushing me to do better.
Well, it was an outstanding run, and we're happy at least you were able to salvage something out of it. You were there at the finish. Everybody knows it. Incredible race with so many different storylines, and you were in the mix right to.
Absolutely, thank you guys, and I gotta thank my team, Dairy Monkey Motorsports. Also, they got some great support too with me.
And I want to add something there, Kev, real quickly here. If you've not had a chance, baseball season getting going here, of course, with spring training and stuff. If you've not had a chance to follow John Boy Media on YouTube or whatever, when we're done with this broadcast, go do it, because you want to see some of the funniest lip syncing and lip reading stuff in the world. Go follow John Boy Media and watch when like a big moment happens in a baseball game, or somebody gets tossed, because it's some of the best lip reading I've ever seen and some of the funniest stuff in the world. So I'm just going to throw a little endorsement in there, if you will, to that media. So, Anthony, I know you're a part of that with your podcast and stuff, but it's some funny stuff, man. So, also, remember, this guy did finish third last season in Daytona in the Grand National Series. So this dude knows how to do some super speedway racing. So, Anthony, keep your head up, buddy.
Thank you guys, and we'll try and go get him next week.
Absolutely, bud. Anthony Calatoni, a third or a fourth place finish. Unfortunately, as they say in life, sometimes you get roses, sometimes you don't, and unfortunately for him, just a little short in that fourth place finish here. And I say Mike Kelly's coming up here. He's trying to broadcast bomb us, I guess that would be. And Mike finishes in the sixth position tonight after his win in the Grand National race last week. Quick question, Chad and Jimmy, are they related?
They're not.
That's a Mike joke.
I was just looking for the bathroom.
What are you doing way up here in the booth?
There's a party, man. I finished.
This is true.
No, I thought I saw Daniel Falkingham, and I thought I'd come up and say hi.
Also, it's all a
how are we
fanboy
doing?
deal here.
Well, how are we doing? I saw a good show tonight.
Yeah, that I haven't got a chance to look at much, but it had to be pretty wild when I looked at the results and saw all those guys a lap down, and I was like, "Holy crud! What was going on?"
The winner won by 16 seconds. Seems like it's 1987 all over again.
Yeah, and I see there was some kind of little incident on that last lap there. I was too far back to see it myself, but
It was quite a race, but yeah, I'm glad y'all put on a show. I'm glad you got a nice little result to start off the season.
no, thanks, man. It's good to see you here. I hope your season's starting off well too, and just good for me. I actually wanted to come up here and just, I'm sure you guys have done it 100 times, but I just wanted to stop. I saw the broadcast was still going, so just wanted to stop in and thank NC811 again for sponsoring this and putting it on. And I think I was the highest finishing NC811 car, so I was pretty proud of that to bring it home after that wild race. I think I almost died 3 or 4 times, so I'd come up and say hi to you guys.
We appreciate it. We're just doing a fun little post-race show, and Daniel's obviously been up here having fun. Kevin's up here having a good old time, and as you're looking for a bathroom apparently. So talk about your race a little bit, because I noticed a couple times you were pitting all by yourself. Not sure if that was planned or not.
No, that wasn't planned that last time. I thought there was going to be some guys that were going to go at least one more lap. It didn't matter ultimately, because those guys were so far ahead, but got stuck out there, and that slowed me down and lost some time. And then I don't know, I thought my first stop was pretty good. We all went in late, pretty good sized group of us. And then, we were like 6 or 7 seconds behind after that stop and never really could make it up. So it was good that it went green. That makes it interesting. It's a different kind of race. And at that point, I was just, I was torn because it's like, okay, I'm seventh. Do I want to just go green and take this run, or do I want to get a chance to bunch it up and maybe win or finish 30th?
That's fair.
So anyway, didn't matter. It went green the rest of the way, and we were battling with guys who were lapped down there at the end and everything. And I was like, "Good Lord, we're just trying to finish this race here, guys."
Was it cool to be a part of, as some people have mentioned it, kind of an old school feeling of a race, like with the field spreading out and having lap cars around, and Daniel made mention of an 87 type of race, but and even some mentioned in chat that it was like you had that old 1990s CBS Daytona 500 Ken Squire feel.
Absolutely, and I think that's pretty neat. It'd be cool if we could have some more races like that where there's just no yellows and little things happen here and there, and it spreads the field up. Maybe strategy comes in, maybe just who you're drafting with. And I mean, like the 76 Daytona 500, I'm old, dating myself. I was at the first 76 my first 500 was in 76 when Petty and Pearson crashed, and they were the only guys on the lead lap. So it was a lot different back then.
Then the guy comes running randomly out there trying to push Petty's car.
Yeah, the whole crew came out. One of those was Kyle Petty, by the way.
Fact. He was a tire changer for him.
Imagine if that happened now.
Well, I mean, people got yelled at for trying to go make sure Austin Dillon was okay back in 2015, so I can only imagine. Anyways, man, hey, great job. Send some shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to Turn 1 Heroes. It's just me and Scotty here in this series, and he didn't come home too well. He got caught up in all that pit stop stuff and ended up 19th. And
well, he broke his beer bottle in the Calantoni wreck.
Yeah, and thanks to you and Kevin and Daniel for doing the broadcast tonight. Gonna go watch that now. And shout out to the smoking hot wife, everyone at Sim500.
Gotta get that.
And my dog Izzy.
Nice. Well, great job today, man. Great job finishing in the 6th position.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too, buddy. All right, let's talk to Josh. Let's get Josh up here. Hey, he left. All right, let's get Parker finished. That'd get us the top 6 finishers all in here at one point.
I'll be surprised if he's still here.
He's here, actually. The whole field's down in team name right now.
Hey, y'all.
Just like that. Oh, no, he's still down there.
Maybe you don't want to talk. I don't know. You never know.
We're gonna make him talk.
No, I moved in here. You guys moved me out.
Oh. Would it make you feel special if we moved you out again?
Well, move me out, move him back in.
No. Either way. Hey, man, you finished 5th in that race.
I didn't pass a single car, and I finished 5th, by the way.
That's an odd stat.
That's how many penalties and wrecks there were. I got passed by 36 cars. I lost the draft 4 times, and I finished 5th. Figure it out. I don't know where I passed the cars.
I don't know how to follow that up, guys. Anybody?
I mean, I could try to come up with something, but
well, anyways, all right. So you avoided a lot of wrecks. It sounds like, and a lot of penalties.
Well, I know. I mean, it was kind of annoying. Is I lost the draft, I think, 4 different times, and with this package, you need a certain group. They kind of really know what they're doing, so you can run the big group down. We never got that group. So at one point, I think you had 3 of us that worked out. We were able to catch back up, got the draft, pitted, green flag pit stop, the yellow came out, and then there was an incident in the back of the pack where we had to back off and gain and get a teammate. But like those 2 cars that were with us weren't able to. It was just a complete disaster. But I finished 5th.
You did.
I think you underestimate your abilities, because your ability to draft with some of your teammates really made the difference, because as everything got broken up, speed, individual lap speed made such a difference every lap, and kept yourself in the hunt that way.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're exactly right. It was once those packs got broken up, it was literally it was very sensitive lap times. So you had to run sub 47s.
At one point, while you were leading from a pack of 12, 14 cars, Daniel was talking about that extensively. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately that's where I lost the race, though. So I mean, we should have went with Jose, when they went with the 4 or 5 cars, they were able to get 5 cars to run the same times we were, which was I didn't think was going to be possible. But that's ultimately where I lost the race. We should have pitted, but once I heard that they had wrecked, I thought it would be better just to run it dry, and then everyone just followed suit with me. I mean, they all would have pitted when I said pit, which scared the shit out of me. I don't know why they put it in my hands, but yeah. Once they said that, and then the guy who asked me almost turned me off at 2 anyway. So I was like, all right, well, what does it matter what I say? You just about wreck me anyway.
No lift,
But
right?
right, but I mean, it worked out.
No.
Like Kevin said, it worked out. I mean, it definitely felt what you said. It felt like I had to try to piece a bunch of different driving styles together to make sure my race wasn't a complete freaking disaster.
Yeah, it was part of the craft of the race, right? Every part of the race, as the segments on plate, you had to be exemplary in your part in order to get a good finish. And it showed that the top 10 drivers all had a good race. Somebody like Gillenwater, who drove from last and came in there for a top 10 finish, just had a clean race and executed well. It's hard to do in a race like this.
I mean, it's definitely tough with this package. You cannot pass. I can't believe it. And I think everybody told me to shut up. At least one person, at least everybody in the server today told me to shut up once. And I was bitching at everybody. Dude, I was getting so frustrated. The side draft is so stupid. I mean, ultimately makes you lose a draft, right? Like you're not meaning to. Some guy just gets lazy. After 40 green for laps, you're bored. You're around the middle, and you suck each other back, and you lose a draft. So it's, sometimes it's not fun. But like you said, you're playing Jenga there at the
Can
end.
you talk about the high line versus the low line? At the early part of the race, you guys were all up against the fence, and at some point,
I don't think there was a difference, to be honest. I think it was just
the dynamic of that.
I mean, so the thing you run, the reason why we're running the top is to protect the right rear quarter panel. I don't think it's ultimately faster. I just think it's just the line we run to
Draft
protect.
and pull you back, you mean?
Exactly, just to save us and keep us up front. I think it's faster on the bottom. I think the reason why we just ran
on the top, like less. We saw as the run went on, tire wear seemed factory cars were getting loose off the corner.
I mean, I felt it get loose a couple times. I didn't notice the top. If anything, I would say the top was worse when it came to that, because you have the seam. You're driving across the seam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was some discussion about the steering ratio.
I went default. I was running the very bottom because I don't like a sensitive wheel. I like to be able to kind of like as the older I get, I know Kevin, you're gonna say I know, but as older I get, I know I'm still a young buck, but we've been doing this for a long time. But I used to love wheeling it with low boxes and just wheel that thing. And now I like to just enjoy the sim race and just kind of wheel. So yeah, I mean, it's like I'm not older, but I've been doing this for so long. I just want to enjoy the race. So I run a really low box just so I can make sure I can feel the car.
So let me ask this. I kind of made it as a joke a second ago when Mons got, he was obviously doing everything he could to help you, and then he almost sent you to Lake Lloyd. Was there actually any lift there?
No.
I
Oh God,
so.
no. There was, oh God, nah, dude. I wouldn't lift even if I was going straight. I mean, or no, like in the parking lot with my mom and my grandmother in the back seat. That thing, no, not once. I got lucky because the way usually when this tire model gets hot, if it wheel hops or the shocks do whatever, you can't save it. It just instantly wrecks. So I thought because my wheel was turned all the way right, if it did that weird bunny hop, I was gonna kill the field. But no, there was no lift there.
That's what I figured. I was like, yeah, I don't think he lifted to be able to join the pack like you did there.
If Justin's not lifting, I'm not lifting. Why should I?
Right, fair. But
I'm in front of everybody. I ain't lifting.
Right. Well, great job tonight, man. We'll let you get back to the entertainment down there. It looks like in team names. So.
Oh God, it's funny, dude. There was so many wrecks that weren't cautions, so they're going back through the race trying to find out seeing all these little incidents that actually happened.
All right, give us some insight. Anybody say anything about the pit road deal?
Well, some people are trying to get that guy banned. Some people are fighting. Yeah, this is
what?
It's like a jury in the court down there. People are fighting sides. We have lawyers involved.
Have to go look at the end.
Hey,
Are we gonna,
Chris, we got to wrap this up quick. We got to get in this.
I was gonna say, we need to.
It's you might want to keep it live.
We might have to go. My cousin Vinny here and go get my cousin. But that's interesting. I'm like, part of me wants to go down there, but like live. But then the other part of me is like, I might never be on the air swearing in if I do.
They might have calmed down now. Pedro is getting all angry, and when he gets pissed, he gets pissed. You guys
Oh,
don't-
I can tell from firsthand experience.
yeah, Pedro gets pissed, so he's gone. So that probably will calm down.
Interesting. Yeah, we might have to go down there and check that out. Well, great job, Josh. Send some shout outs real
I
quick.
appreciate it, guys.
Or not. He gone.
No shout outs. Shout out to all the lawyers dealing with the issue down in team name.
I even threw a my cousin Vinny reference in there.
Go and look at that.
Great movie.
24 got into the 43. And he checked up to keep off the 43. And when he did, he got tagged. He was not turning to pit road. I think if you look at the replay.
All right.
you know,
I'm going to pull it back up before we go. All right. I'll pull it back up. What lap was that?
I think it was like lap. Hey, I
90?
think I still got it myself.
94, pretty sure. I want to. I'll be the defense attorney. Because I've been there and done that, right? You don't. The last thing.
Go to Kevin Brown's lap 95.
Well, so now I got to pull up iRacing to do that one. Let's. I'm trying to do it without. I'm trying to do it the right way here. All right, here we go.
Doing that.
I found it. And let me hit pause here for a second. Let's.
We'll have our own court here.
All right.
Night on Sim500 court.
All right, so let's go. 24. Oh, Funky Cole Medina, as I like to call him. I wonder if Jose even knows who that is. Tone look. Anyways, all right, so you see he's getting right there. He's like tight or something because he's like literally going up the track.
The car tight coming up off the corner. He tagged the 43. Let's establish that part.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Tagged the 43, which slowed him up a little bit.
Which then he's still in the gas here because like there's no intention to pit at all here. He's in throttle.
He's in the gas.
He's in throttle and he's on the scene.
And look, he's turning for pit road.
I think he was still trying to collect the car there.
Well, I mean, I don't
That's
know why
a possibility, but
I don't know like why you'd collect the car when you're in the gas and then you automatically just hit the brake for no reason. Like
Wait.
that's what I'm getting at.
It comes back to some of the dynamic about the way the air works and other things when a car drives across your nose.
here's the
I don't
biggest
think Garrett had anything to do with that.
the biggest part of this whole thing. Look to the top side of the 24.
Yes, that's what I said. The 30 drove right through
There's
that.
Macklin and there's Calantoni right there. There's your top two right there.
Drove right through it.
Like
And
literally, if you were on team name, you were destroyed. Like you can't make this up.
you have to go in the chase view.
We're actually gonna go on board.
Chase
Rooftop.
view, please. Rooftop. Okay, go. He comes off and snags that 43 and he's in the car and he comes back just a little bit, but it was not turning.
You hear him let off the throttle.
He was definitely turning. I mean, his car is literally turning for pit road.
I don't go back in and watch the steering wheel.
All right.
On my view, he wasn't turning.
I'm glad we could have our own little debate tonight.
Yes.
Now, in the end, we're doing this in a respectful way, by the way, too. So let's note that obviously, Jose, we're not trying to get you banned.
Either way,
um,
an incident happened.
yes, an incident did happen. We can agree on all that. Now, I will say this: in that view, we just had the roll bar. You want the chase? You said, Kev. In the
Go in the cockpit. View,
cockpit.
please.
Okay, thank you. Brian, they're talking about that in the other Discord right now. Yeah, but we're keeping it clean, Brian. We're trying to keep the language out, okay? So keep your never mind.
Yeah, F-bombs and other
that was a joke there. I tried, but all right, cockpit. You said so. The one thing I do catch, if you listen, he does let off the throttle before he gets hit. But go ahead.
He doesn't turn left there. Watch
But, like,
the tape. He wasn't turning left.
I mean,
He
but
was
here's the
steering the car left and right, still right, trying to catch the car. But there's no left-hand turn there. He's straight on, straight on, straight on. Little left turn, straight on, straight on, straight on. Bang! He gets hit. There
you
it
can see him turning the wheel a little bit.
The
but from what I've noticed,
confusion. I think
the
the
replays in
he's
the
not
replays
doing
they don't really fully show that. They don't really fully show what I've noticed in replays. They don't really fully show like the steering.
we've
like
turned
the,
into the NBA on TNT now.
Well,
So
this is
here's what I caught out of this. So here's where I'm gonna say I don't see him turning left, but the one thing I do catch, look at the RPMs. He's
yeah. That's
back
what
in
I
the
was about to
gas.
say. That's what I'm
He's
about to
back
bring
in the
up the
gas.
RPM.
He's back in the gas. He's back in the gas. He's off the gas, and then he
Like
gets
you just
hit.
don't slam on the brakes if you're
I
like
don't
you're straight. I don't
now.
know why you slamming the brakes in the middle of the racetrack.
I
Yeah.
can't necessarily say he got on the brakes either because think about this, and you know this, Daniel. If you get on the brakes, you're not losing 700 RPM.
Well, I'm looking at his speed too. Your speed does not drop like his mile per hour.
Right.
It does not
It's
drop
almost
that
like he
dramatically
lets off
off
the
the gas.
gas, maybe.
It
Yeah.
don't. It does not. It dropped 12 miles an
Oh,
hour in like a
okay.
half second. It does not drop that dramatically when you're off the gas. You have to have some sort of brake pressure to freaking slow down that quick.
I do remember when RWR, when Rick Ware, that's just Rick Ware Racing type stuff there. Anyways,
Yep.
but all right, so we're gonna wrap this thing up, and some of us have to work in the morning. No, we're gonna wrap this thing up though. It's been a fun broadcast, Daniel. Before we go here, throw a little plug out there, man. Obviously Tuesday night, obviously Joe Gibbs
Yeah.
Racing, esports. Talk about it, man. Getting ready for Milwaukee coming up here in 2 weeks.
Yep. Next weekend, next Tuesday, Coke Series race number 2 at Milwaukee, 100 laps. Should be a fun event. But yeah, just want to shout out Joe Gibbs Racing, Interstate Batteries, all of our partners over there. Brian Boris Cook, who really was the big guy to get me over there. So just can't thank those guys enough for bringing me on this year. And hopefully our race at Daytona is really only our bad moment of the year. But I know what the speed we're capable of. But we're gonna keep working because I want it bad. So we're gonna keep going. It's only one race out of the way, but I'm just glad to have that first one out of the way because I had those first race jitters and all that, but just glad to have that out of the way. But yeah, just ready to go. But yeah, just can't thank Interstate Batteries and Joe Gibbs Racing for all the support. And we go on to Milwaukee, and I believe we have a guest in the booth before we wrap this up.
Somebody else joining us?
Yeah,
Joey?
yeah, guys. Hey, yeah, I had to come up here, man. It was a heck of a night. I wanted to thank y'all for everything you did, and what'd y'all think, man? It was a pretty good race.
It's pretty
Yeah.
wild.
One yellow. Got some tempers start off the year. I mean, you can't start it in any other way other than Sim500, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to jump up here and thank NC811.
Yep.
Everybody that's stepped up for another year, and obviously anybody out there that shared our broadcast and continues to help get this out there. I mean, I know I shared it with a few friends tonight, and they've never seen sim racing before, and I don't think anybody understood how hard that car was to drive tonight. I mean, it was like on roller skates. I mean, we were wrecking almost every other corner. So, but tonight too, with the weather delay we had, I can't wait to go back and watch the tribute to Ed Burrell. Obviously, just want to send our condolences out to his family. It was tragic to lose him. He was so excited about this season. Not going to get a chance to do that or be here with us, but Ed was out there with us tonight. Got to lead a lap, and Bob gave that car a great ride. So other than that, man, the last thing I wanted to say is we did Hall of Fame voting, and I don't know if you guys talked about that in any of that tonight, but kind of to give back the league Sim500, we started a Hall of Fame, and of course Daniel was the number one choice by everybody. He's won more races, and I don't think anybody will ever do. We'll shut the place down before anybody gets close to him. But to make it to the pro level, Chad Colbin was a second driver we introducted. Basically, he's the Ironman of our series. I think Chad's, I don't even know, the stats are just staggering how many races. Well over 1,000 races he's ran with us.
I don't know if you know this stat, Joey, but he crossed over 100,000 laps tonight.
100,000 laps tonight, and then to top it off, so we got two great guys, and then the third inductee, which again was decided by the peers, a driver vote. The league decides on the first two, and then we let the drivers decide on the third. We had to go to a runoff on that between Trey Edson and EJ O'Rourke, and it came down that EJ O'Rourke won it by one vote over Trey Edson, so he will be into the Hall of Fame at Sim500 as the first group of 2003. So Trey will definitely be a lock next year for sure. But that just shows you EJ. Last I looked, 970 starts. 970 starts, 32 poles, 41 wins, and he's got a premier championship. So he's well deserving, a guy that continues to support the league. So that's all. I've talked enough. I know you guys, it's been a late night, but I just want to thank everybody a part of this. It's going to be a great, fun season. And obviously, Daniel, we wish you the best, man. I'm probably one of your biggest fans. I watch. I don't race on Tuesday nights when you're racing, so I can enjoy watching you run up the ladder, man. So congrats on that.
Well, I appreciate it. I know we had a bad race at Daytona, but we still got a long season ahead, so we're going to try to make that up. For anything can happen in the Coke Series, that is for sure.
If anybody can do it, you can. Kevin, Chris, thank you guys so much, and we're ready for next week already.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Buddy. Appreciate your time, Joey. Appreciate what he does. And there's a part of me that's like, man, why? Let's get Joey in the Hall of Fame. I mean, the man's put this whole thing together. But that's just bias, I guess, part of my part too. But man, Daniel, we appreciate your time, man. Best of luck coming up. And let the gentleman you mentioned, the gentleman that helped you be a part of the team, Boris. What was his name?
Yep, Brian Boris
Brian
Cook.
Boris
He's
Cook,
been
thank
in
you.
Sim500 for so many years. That Sim500 was the primary reason I ended up on Joe Gibbs Racing. So
Wow.
this league has really brought a lot to me these last 4 years, and I feel like I'm glad a small part of Sim500 was able to be a big part of my coach stuff. So I mean,
Well,
this really has changed my life in a few ways per se.
we'll let the drivers and viewers debate who's the more famous second name Boris. Is it Brian Boris Cook or Bobby Boris Pickett? For those who don't know the Monster Mash. Just say it.
I think we will leave that for debate.
No, man, seriously, appreciate your time, buddy.
I appreciate you guys bringing me in. I hope y'all have a great season. I'll be checking into the races from time to time, but I know y'all will have a great season. Great season without me. I'll give all these guys a chance, but I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to watching the season goes on. I might jump back again later in the year, but for now, this is probably gonna be my one-off. So appreciate y'all letting me in, and I hope y'all have a great season.
You too, buddy. Doors always open if you ever want to join. So,
thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Daniel Falkingham, driver of the Joe Gibbs Racing Coca-Cola iRacing Series Esports team. He's gonna go down there and probably have some fun with team name and try to cheer him up a little bit. But all right, Kevin, time for us to wrap this thing up, man. It's been a marathon a little bit here. Obviously, as Joey said, a little bit of a rain delay at the beginning. Got everything going. What a strong race it was. A great race, entertaining. Plenty of lead changes. A three-peat, which I honestly think wasn't possible. But Brian showed it when he needed it, made the moves he needed to win that race, and unfortunately heartbreak for Cal and Tony. This race definitely had everything in 120 laps.
Yeah, love the fitting tribute to Ed to start tonight. Storylines of the race, the incident, lap 94. It'll be talked about for years to come. The unique nature of this race, one caution and a three-peat to wrap it up. We're building history here at Sim500, one race at a time, and this is going to be one for the books as far as I could say. I would say another underlying story, impressed with the new faces. They all had great runs, and we've seen some new sponsors come into the series. Chesterton comes to name, and just thrilled to have NC811 back again for what is going to be an amazing season of esports racing.
Yes, call before you dig. Make sure you do so. Appreciate North Carolina 811. And remember, if you're in the United States, there's an 811 in your state. So make sure you do call before you dig. It's not only the law, but it's also a very smart thing to do. So put it like that. Kevin, man, we appreciate it. Go get some sleep. We'll see you next week at, I believe it's Auto Club Speedway for the Cup Series. And, of course, we're there next week for the Grand National Series, both with NC811. So appreciate it, buddy.
Yep.
All right, Kevin England there. Of course, Captain signing off as we take off. Always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole